And we're back. Everyone make it safely. Make sure you hit the like button on your way back into this stream. The fan is up. The fan is up. She said 1:40. We'll see if they're timely. It's now 1:37. So yeah, I have a couple of I saw some chatter in the chat about collabs with Mark Betterow. We are in contact, so be on the lookout for that one. He's a New York lawyer too, so it's nice to have a New York lawyer, another New York lawyer to talk to about this case. We will be joining forces soon for you. I've also been in talks, as you know, with Natalie, the lawyer chick. She's very busy. She's a practicing defense attorney. And so our schedules have not been able to sync up yet, but I've not forgotten about Natalie, the lawyer chick. That's going to be real fun. I've been talking to Collier Landry about going on his show. So that will be happening soon. We're going to connect a little bit later today about that. And also Ali Mata from the Defense Diaries. So be ready for Ali and me. It could be pretty cool. I love Ali. She's a pistol. She reminds me so much of Catherine Zeta-Jones. She's like my own personal Catherine Zeta-Jones. For those of you who don't know, Ali Mata is the wife of Bob Mata of Defense Diaries, and she does stream with him quite a bit. So we are both busy moms, and we will get our act together soon as well. DUI guy, yeah, we've been in touch too, but he's real busy. I'm real busy. I don't know how that would work. He's in a different time zone. So we'll see. We'll see. Hi, Kirsten. Hello, Kirsten. We have so many Kirstens and Kristens in the chat. They're so happy when I pronounce their name properly. Their names. You guys make it over. Okay. Veronica, thanks for your super chat. Weren't the soaked items double bagged? Wouldn't the bags be water stained from the soaked clothing? You'd think. Think they changed bags a couple of times? That's a great question. And could we see if they were double bagged when he took those items out of the bags? Veronica coming in again with another suggestion. We're making a playlist for Spotify for this case, and Your Lion Eyes will be added to the playlist. It's going to be 7 hours long by the time that we're done. But we're here for it. Yuriy Bukhenik is still on the stand. I think Lally's probably going to take the whole rest of the day with him. What do you think? That's what I'm thinking, because it's 1:40 here on the East Coast. She'll probably go maybe until 4:15 or whenever Lally feels like it's a good time to break, and then let them go. And then it's another half day tomorrow, 9 to 12. It's like not even banker's hours. It's not even banker's hours. It's summer hours. It's Cape Cod hours is what it is. And then nothing Friday. Nothing Friday. Yeah, I don't think AJ will get to cross today either. But we're here for it. We're here for it. We're waiting for it. Thank you for the anonymous Venmo, anonymous. If you want to remain anonymous, totally cool. Just write anon please at the top of your message, because that way I won't say your name. A lot of people want to remain anonymous on this case, and I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, because if you get out there with your real name and you talk about this case, you could be in for some problems. I understand. Don K9 says, I'm not wasting my afternoon with Lally. I don't need to hear about the weather and what if any. See y'all later. I'll come back and fast forward when this idiot is finished. Okay, Don, this is not an airport. You do not need to announce your departure. But hit the like button on your way out and then come back and fast forward it later. It's going to be interesting. I don't know if you really want to miss it in real time, Don, because you're here all the time. Don't be a quitter. Don't be a quitter, Don. This is insane. This is just insane. Robin says, I thought Bev was going to try for full days going forward. No, that emoji is how I spend most of my days when I'm The other day I was going like this. I was like, "Is this really what we're hearing? You only tested one solo cup? One? And then you didn't even test it?" Leader of the pack, says Rosemary June by the Shangri-Las. Feels appropriate mood-wise, yep. Leader of the pack. Hello, Angela. I would love to see Ed Wallace's reaction when those bags were opened and displayed. There is some reason why Ed has been hesitant to speak on this case. It's not like he's friends with Proctor or anything, but I don't know if he will. Listen, various people can't cover various cases for various reasons. Remember when the Maya trial was happening? Lawyer, Peter Tragos wasn't really able to, I think, talk about that trial as much as he wanted to because he had other cases pending in front of Judge Carroll, right? So for whatever reason, look, I'm retired. I can do whatever I want. I can cover whatever I want. I can talk about whoever I want. Ed Wallace is Duty Ron's partner. Duty Ron has a channel. Duty Ron, Crime Time with Duty Ron and Ed Wallace. Duty Ron is my YouTube mentor. He brought me into the YouTube world, taught me everything I know about integrity, who to stay away from, how to keep the trolls away. And he protects me. And he's an amazing, amazing man. If you don't follow Duty Ron and Ed Wallace, go do it. Ed Wallace is a forensics expert who is on the Duty Ron channel. He's in Morocco. I think it's an undisclosed location. He's on assignment. Janelle says Judge Carroll was fantastic compared to Bev. Yeah. Dave the Pie is hello. Dave the Pie is a little out of left field, but can we go with Liar by Henry Wallace? Oh, I do. I love that song. I'm a liar. I do. No, I like that. I don't think that's out of left field at all because I know the song you're talking about. That is a good one. You got it, Dave. You got it. This is a little out of left field too, but does anybody know who Five Finger Death Punch is? Put that in the chat if you know who Five Finger Death Punch is. Five Finger Death Punch. Leanne Wilson, thanks for your super chat. I'm a student in law with criminology. So I have a question. When Karen gets found not guilty, does the case get reopened and law enforcement starts getting questioned? Well, if they have another suspect that they can bring charges against, they could do that. I am going to say that I do not think the federal case by the FBI is still ongoing. So they're investigating this investigation, and we don't know what they have uncovered or what they may be uncovering during the course of that investigation that could lead to other charges for other people being brought. So thank you for that question. It's a great question. And thank you, Amanda, for your super chat saying that I'm wonderful and so lovely. And so are you. You do, Five Finger Death Punch? Okay, so random story. But when I was in LA, I auditioned for a Five Finger Death Punch video. And I can't remember the name of the song right now. But it was like so cool because the director who was directing the video, he does a lot of videos for Five Finger Death Punch. And it was I'll have to find out the name of the song. It was to play the female president in one of their songs, and I had never really wasn't familiar with the band, so I started listening to some of their music. I was so into it. I was so into it. So if you guys know who that is, I'm honored. I did not book that video, but it was a pretty cool video of zombies. There was a lot of zombies walking around, and there was a female president. And what was it? A little bit. Oh, they have a song called "A Little Bit Off." I'm a little bit off today. That is a really good song. I'm trying to remember what the name of the video was. Anyway, that's just a random fun fact. Fun fact. But yeah, I'm a little bit off today. That's a great song. And if you don't know that song, you should listen to it because it's got some really great lyrics. Oh, my friends, just when you think you couldn't make it up anymore, you can. You can. Zombies, yeah, sounds about right. It was sort of like a futuristic video, as I recall. I don't know why Spotify doesn't have the lyrics to this one up. But it was pretty cool. The video was pretty cool. Anyway, I didn't book it. Somebody else did, but it would have been pretty cool. And it turns out that the director who was directing that video, who does a lot of their videos, his cousin is a guy named Mike Del Giudice, who is in a band, who plays with Billy Joel's band and has a band called Big Shot, which is a Billy Joel. I know it's back. I got the fan up. Don't worry. I'm on Kevin. The fan is up. I got it. I know I ramble, but ramble on. It's pretty much the theme of this entire trial. So if you want to watch that, we can. Tawny Katane got the part. No, she didn't. She didn't. R.I.P. Tawny Katane. I always wanted to be the girl on the White Snake car too, didn't we all? Hand is up. Ramble on. I try, KPT. I try and save you from the fan. What did Kurt say earlier? I love the OnlyFans spinning.
Hey, you made me see the quarterbacking session.
All right, Mr. Lally.
May we approach this briefly?
Okay.
Just briefly never is, man. Never is. It is never brief. 'Tis never brief. It is never brief. Dave the Pious. Thank you for your super chat. The documentary Hired Gun goes into Five Finger Death Punch. Great documentary. Thanks. I'll check that out. I need something to watch on regular TV to get my head out of this case. Got to get off of YouTube every now and then. Oops, I did it again. Brittany DeHiggy from Karen. Thanks, Freelancer, for your super chat. And Lisa, thank you for your super chat. Do you think sometimes you can go over the amazing Frank Serpico and his amazing dedication to being a good cop who exposed corruption? That's a good idea for a show. Thanks, Lisa. Thanks for your super chat. I'm just a girl in the world. Thanks for your super chat. Felt sick to my stomach seeing his clothes and imagining what Officer O'Keefe had endured. Prayers to Officer O'Keefe's family, friends, everyone who is missing him. And we are praying for justice for Officer John O'Keefe because this investigation was not covered with the integrity and dignity that Boston police officer John O'Keefe deserved. Just wasn't. Just wasn't. Wolfram, thanks. Theme song for the Proc McAlberts, the theme song from Cheers, where everybody knows your name. Mrs. O'Keefe. Maxer 54, you missed the morning session. Is it worth watching? It's always worth watching, Maxer. You do not want to miss a minute of this trial. Because we'll be talking about stuff and you won't know what we're talking about. Yuriy Bukhenik got on the stand this morning and he's continuing on the stand now. We heard about 3 different kinds of glass found on the bumper and at the scene. Didn't match up. 2 other things. You got to go back and watch it. Nicole White, never miss a Sunday show. Nicole, are you going to Vegas? Maybe I'll see you there.
Okay, you can go ahead, Mr. Lally.
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Sergeant Buchanan, those items, as far as the clothing items that you displayed for the jury just prior to the recess, those were the same clothing items that you recovered from the hospital room of the Good Samaritan on January 29th. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Now, you had mentioned earlier in your testimony that those items had been placed into one bag initially. What, if anything, happened with those items as far as their keeping or their bagging once you got back to the office or to your, where the evidence room is?
Due to the condition of those items after they arrived at the office, the items were laid out on butcher's paper that we utilize for evidence viewing and allowed to dry naturally because they were soaking wet.
And as far as when they were done with that sort of drying process, how were they packaged from there?
They were packaged in the bags, sealed up, and stored for transport and processing.
And so those would be bags individual for each clothing item, is that correct?
Each item the way that it was packaged, the pants with the belt and the boxers, and then so on and so forth with the sweatshirt and sneakers.
And we'll get to this a little bit more in a moment, but at some point there were pieces of plastic, red and clear plastic, that were recovered by you and other troopers from Fairview Road, is that correct?
That's correct.
At any point in time, were pieces of clear and red plastic that were recovered from 34 Fairview Road ever placed inside the same evidence bag as any piece of clothing that you recovered from this bag?
No, absolutely not.
Now, with reference to the hospital of Good Samaritan, in addition to yourself and Trooper Proctor, were there other members of the state police or other units of the state police that arrived at the hospital at some point?
Yes, sir. Lieutenant Mello came to the hospital to document the victim and the clothing.
Mellow?
And he's assigned to the State Police Crime Scene Services section.
Now, as far as the Crime Scene Services section, or CSSS, what, if any, role do they have with relation to your investigation in this case, or your investigations in general as far as documentation is concerned?
Crime Scene Services section assists us in documenting scenes through video and photographs. They also assist in collecting latent prints, fingerprints. They assist in collecting impressions, like foot impressions in mud or soil.
Didn't find any of those. No tire tracks.
Those types of missions.
Now, there are a number of different troopers that are assigned to that particular unit, is that correct?
That's correct.
And as far as over the course of this investigation, how many occasions approximately were there that a member of the Crime Scene Services section responded to memorialize or photograph different scenes or different areas throughout the course of your investigation in this case?
Just off the top of my head, there would be 4, 5, maybe 6 instances where a trooper or sergeant from Crime Scene Services responded to the scene to assist us in this investigation.
Now, at any point in time over the course of the investigation, when Crime Scene Services troopers responded to document anything, was it ever the same trooper more than once?
No, it was not.
And so with regard to January 29th, back at the Good Samaritan Hospital, there were Sergeant Mello arrived to document or photograph Mr. O'Keefe, correct?
That's correct.
And Your Honor, may I approach the witness?
Yes.
They call him Mellow Yellow. That's right. They call him Mellow Yellow.
Mr. Lally, do you want me to give my instruction now or in a few minutes?
Just about 30 seconds.
Okay.
So Sergeant Bukhenik just placed 3 photographs before you. Do you recognize what's depicted in those 3 photographs?
I do.
And what do you recognize those to be?
That is Mr. John O'Keefe.
And what's contained within those photographs, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of what you saw of Mr. O'Keefe's body at the Good Samaritan Hospital on January 29th?
Yes, it is.
Your Honor, may I approach again?
Yes.
Your Honor, the Commonwealth seeks to introduce in the minute.
All right. So there's no objection, right? All right. So, folks, the Commonwealth is introducing into evidence through this witness certain photographs that are not pleasant and may be considered graphic photos. Sometimes evidence is presented that creates an emotional reaction in jurors. For example, it's natural and understandable to feel sympathy and empathy when you hear about a person who was injured in some serious way or suffered in some way or who has passed away. But as jurors, you've taken an oath to follow the law, and I instruct you that you must separate any emotional reaction on your part from the informational value and weight of the evidence. You must not be influenced in any way by the nature of some of the testimony, and you must find the facts in this case based only on the evidence. You can't find facts or base your decision on sympathy, anger, passion, or prejudice or pity for or against either side in this case. Rather, your verdict must be based solely on the evidence and my instructions on the law. All right, with that, Mr. Lally, those photos will be in evidence.
Thank you. Your Honor, with the court's permission, may publish just briefly each of the three respective photographs.
All right, these are going to be photographs of Officer O'Keefe's body. If you are going to be triggered by this, turn away. You might not want to see these if you have not already seen them somewhere.
Thank you.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have photograph 2866. And Sergeant, directing your attention to the screen, is that what's displayed on there now has been marked as Exhibit 441. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
And using the laser pointer on the desk before you, if you could draw the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you observed.
Oh, they're not going to show them? Okay.
I observed the swelling of the eyelids, slight laceration of the nostril and the eyelid. The
Oh, they'll show Karen, though.
pooling on the bed, and that depiction of Mr. O'Keefe.
Ms. Gilman, can I have photograph 2857? And again, Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen and is now been marked as Exhibit 442?
I do.
And similar to the prior exhibit, if you could, using the laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you observed in this photo.
I observed the lateral, parallel lacerations, abrasions and markings on the skin of Mr. O'Keefe, limited between that point there and that point there, as I described earlier in my testimony.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have 2859. And again, Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen and has now been marked as Exhibit 443?
I do.
And this is, what do you see in this photograph?
It's the same abrasions to Mr. O'Keefe's right arm, just further up on the bicep, tricep, shoulder area.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Gilman, you can take it. Now, Sergeant, taking you back to January 29th, 2022.
He said laceration? Let's rewind that. Ah,
I observed the lateral, parallel lacerations, abrasions.
he corrected himself. The parallel, lateral lacerations. Excuse me, I mean abrasions. I've been taught to say abrasions. Damn, I forgot. I was supposed to say abrasions. Damn. Yuriy, bad Yuriy.
And markings on the skin of Mr. O'Keefe, limited between that point there and that point there, as I described earlier in my testimony.
Earlier you said it. Abrasions.
And again, Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen and has now been marked as Exhibit 443?
I do.
And this is, what do you see in this photograph?
It's the same abrasions to Mr. O'Keefe's right arm,
He's like,
just further up on the
Say
bicep,
abrasions.
tricep, shoulder area.
he's like, say abrasions, say abrasions, say abrasions. The upper arm are clearly lacerations. They're deep. We don't even know how deep. Let's see if they were even measured. He didn't take the photos. Sergeant Mello took the photos.
Now, Sergeant, taking you back to January 29th, 2022, after you left the Good Samaritan Hospital, where is it that you went?
We went to 345 Country Hill Drive in Dayton.
And that was the residence of Miss Reed's parents, is that correct?
That is correct.
Now, on your way from the Good Samaritan in Brockton to the residence in Dayton, what, if any, communication did either you or Trooper Proctor have with regard to the Dayton police?
I advised Trooper Proctor to contact Dayton Police Dispatch and advised them that we would be responding to the location, 345 Country Hill Drive, and seizing a vehicle. And we were requesting uniformed patrols to assist us in that mission.
Why are they seizing the vehicle? If they haven't found one piece of taillight yet? Why are they seizing the vehicle before they even know whether this was a motor vehicle accident? Because remember, all that Canton police found at the scene was a cocktail glass and something else that didn't indicate a car accident. That's escaping me right this second. So why are they seizing? They're going to Dayton not to talk to her, specifically to go seize the vehicle. This was originally called in as a domestic dispute that perhaps she threw a cocktail glass with him and perhaps she hit him in the face. So where was the evidence of the car accident that sent them on a mission to Dayton to go collect this car? He's not saying we're going to talk to Karen to take her statement. He's saying we are going there to get the car. But they had not found any taillight pieces yet. Make it make sense. Because even Paul O'Keefe testified that he went into that hospital room and saw his brother laying on the gurney or on the hospital bed and said that he looked like he had been beat up. Because Jen McCabe's original statements did not say, I hit him, I hit him, I hit him. They said, could I have hit him? Did I hit him? They're on a mission. Look, the word mission is right on your screen. They're on a mission to go get that car. And do you know if Karen's parents still live there? Because they've already doxed her address on TV like 5 times. Their address, the parents' address. Yeah, it looks like he went 8 rounds with Tyson, Sheila. That's what he said. Wow. Carpe vehiculum. I think they went because of Jen McCabe's statement. Or they were on a mission to collect this car.
And why was that request made of the local PD?
We were going into their jurisdiction. There was a blizzard going on. We were considerate of the circumstance and wanted to be courteous to the Reed residents and not just show up without any uniform presence. We have never met the Reed family. They have never met us. And with the clothing that we were wearing, it would be difficult for them to see that we were law enforcement.
And so as you arrive in that area of the residence in Dayton, where did you position yourselves and when did you arrive in relation to the marked unit from Dayton?
We called them while we were still on the highway and gave them an approximate time of arrival. GPS was not accurate due to the conditions at the time on the roadways. Once we arrived to Dayton, I positioned my vehicle at the top of Country Hill Drive, awaiting a marked uniformed officer from
What
Dayton
time?
to meet us there.
What time?
And if you know about how long approximately did it take you to get from Brockton to Dayton on that particular day?
From Brockton to Dayton, it took us about 45 minutes to an hour to travel that distance.
And if you know about what time was it that you arrived at the residence in Dayton?
We arrived approximately on the street at 2:30 or so in the afternoon.
2:30.
And we waited for a significant amount of time for the uniform patrol to arrive.
And when the uniform
If you know, you know, we've been over all of these statements, and it's my understanding from what I recall from going over the original reports with you, most of you, many of you, that the officer from Dayton was there before they got there. So it's going to be interesting to hear his testimony. But they got there at 2:30 to Dayton. And as of 2:30, they had no evidence of a car accident. There was no physical evidence of a car accident. Okay, but they're going there specifically to take her car. Okay.
patrol arrived, at some point, did you learn the name of at least one of those officers that arrived at the residence with you?
At the time, I did, yes.
And was that an Officer Barrows?
Yes, it was.
And so when Officer Barrows arrived, where did you then proceed with Officer Barrows upon his arrival?
Well, the road was only plowed the width of one vehicle. So even though he and his partner were in a F-150 or 250 marked police cruiser, we could only travel in single line. We traveled up to the cul-de-sac, turned around and positioned our vehicles facing back out to the way that we entered the roadway or that street. We parked on the roadway since the driveway was not plowed, and we waded through the snow to the front door of the residence.
When you say the driveway was not plowed or you waded through the snow, can you describe to the jury sort of the condition of the driveway as you made your way from the street to the house?
With the blowing winds and the drifting snow, there were locations along our walk to the property with snow varying from knee-high to up to my waist. For reference, I'm 6'1", so it was quite deep in some locations.
Congratulations on your height. Congratulations for being 6'1". GPS doesn't work in the snow. The GPS didn't work on any of the Canton plows, remember, that evening either. And WTF, Scrivener's errors all over the place. GPS inaccurate because of snow. The answer is blowing in the wind. And it was broad daylight at 2:30. Okay.
And as you made your way to the home,
Humble brag.
what, if anything, did you observe in the driveway?
As we walked up to the driveway in front of the garage, we observed a large Lexus black in color SUV bearing Massachusetts registration 3GC684.
Did you notice any ring cameras on your walk down the street by any of the neighbors? Did you notice any ring cameras in the vicinity who may have seen that Lexus SUV pull up into that driveway? Did you notice any ring cameras in Karen's parents' driveway? Yeah, Ryan, they were taking her car away before they arrested her. Absolutely, they were.
And subsequently, did you come to find out whose vehicle that was?
Yes, once we queried the plate, we learned that the vehicle was registered to the defendant.
They had to run
As
the
you're going
plate.
by this vehicle, what, if any, observations did you make of the vehicle as you were walking past it toward the home?
I observed a damaged rear right taillight fixture on the vehicle.
Damaged.
From my vantage point, I also told Trooper Proctor to approach the vehicle closer and confirm what I was seeing, which he did.
Did you take a picture?
As far as that damage to the right passenger taillight area, can you describe sort of what it was that you saw during that initial phase?
Absolutely. During the initial phase, I observed snow compacted and caked onto portions of the taillight casing. There were pieces missing, and I knew that because the left side taillight was intact.
But it wasn't caked in snow?
And as you made your way past the vehicle to the home, at some point, are you greeted or do you meet someone in the area of the home?
Yes, once we walked up to the front door, I rang the doorbell and Mr. Reed opened the front door with the storm door, glass storm door, unable to open due to the level of snow on the ground and on the front steps.
And so where were you directed to enter the home from?
Mr. Reed directed us to the garage door, at which point it opened up and Trooper Proctor and I entered the garage. We were once again greeted by Mr. Reed and invited into the home.
And Officer Barrows, where did he remain when you and Trooper Proctor went into the home?
He remained outside with the vehicle. During our time in the home, Officer Barrows came in and asked what the plan was and offered to have DPW plow out the driveway because the tow truck was not able to maneuver into the driveway in order to retrieve that vehicle.
Now, as far as during any time that you were on scene or at this residence in Dighton, did you yourself or did you observe Trooper Proctor touch that vehicle at any point in any way while you were there?
No.
And did you observe Officer Barrows or any other personnel beyond the tow truck driver touch the vehicle in any way?
No.
And as far as the tow truck driver was concerned, did you observe that individual touch anywhere in the rear passenger side area of that vehicle at any time that you were there?
No.
So then you proceed inside the home, and when you get inside the home, where did you go and who, if anyone, did you speak to?
We were directed by Mr. Reed to the living room where the defendant was seated on the couch. She had her laptop on her lap and her phone resting on the right armrest of the couch.
Now, in addition to the defendant and her father, who, if anyone else, was present when you talked to Ms. Reed?
The defendant's mother, Mrs. Reed, was also present in the home.
And the defendant's mother and the defendant's father, were they present throughout the course of your interview or your discussion with Ms. Reed?
Yes, they were.
And at any point in time, did you ask them to leave or anything like that?
I did not know.
Now, with respect to, can you describe sort of the demeanor or the tone of the conversation that you had with Ms. Reed that afternoon?
It was polite, courteous. She had just went through a traumatic event, so we were considerate of her losing her boyfriend. And we had a normal tone conversation. We were in the information gathering, fact-finding portion of the investigation. We simply wanted to collect her recollection of events that she remembered.
You're in the fact-finding portion of your mission, but you're there to tow the car. So you've already decided that the car is the murder weapon because that's the reason that you went to Dighton, was to get the car. So you're really not fact-finding. You've already made up your mind about what happened. Even though the injuries that you observed in the hospital to Officer John O'Keefe did not line up with a motor vehicle accident, sir. Did they? Did he have any trauma to his legs, knees, ankles, hips, torso? No, he did not. So why would you just jump to the conclusion that he was struck by a car? You weren't fact-finding. You already made your mind up. You already made up your mind what happened. Wow.
And so throughout the course of this interview, how are you, are you standing, are you seated, or how are you positioned in relation to Ms. Reed, and how is she positioned in relation to you?
She was sitting on the couch. We were standing across the room. I don't recall if there was a coffee table, but if there was a coffee table, we would be standing on the opposite side of that coffee table if there was one present. I do not remember if there was one present, but that's the distance approximately from me to the defense table.
And if you could describe to the jury sort of how did that interview or how did that conversation begin? What was said?
First things first, we introduce ourselves, advise the individual we're speaking with, who we are, where we work, and what we're looking to find out.
Formal introductions were
the
made.
The defendant was advised that we're looking to get a recollection of the events, what happened, what she observed, what she remembers from the night before, and to walk us through the last 24 hours or so of activity.
And
Do
prior
I
to,
need to give an instruction, Mr. Lally?
She's helping him every step of the way.
I'm not sure exactly. Why don't I see counsel at sidebar? for a
It's like
minute?
having special help on tap. Oh, do you need me to give the instruction, Mr. Lally? Do you need to object, Lally? Mr. Lally, do you want to object? Mr. Lally, do you want to object to that? Do we have court on Thursday? Thursday's tomorrow already, right? Yeah, only 9 to 12 though,
All
Mike
right, so I
Judson.
interrupted you, Sergeant, and I'm going to instruct you jurors, okay? We're about to hear testimony about statements allegedly made by the defendant, Karen Reed, allegedly concerning the crimes that are charged in this case. Before you may even consider any such statement as evidence, the Commonwealth must prove to you beyond a reasonable doubt that the defendant made the statement that she's alleged to have made, and that she made it voluntarily, freely, and rationally. In determining whether any statement made by the defendant was voluntary or not, you may consider all the surrounding circumstances. These include when and where the statement was made, the nature of any conversations with the police or questioning by the police, and the defendant's physical and mental condition, including her intelligence, age, education, experience, and personality. Your decision does not turn upon any one factor. You must consider the totality of the surrounding circumstances. I'll instruct you about this again at the end of the case, but for purposes of, as you hear the testimony, that's the lens that you have to sort of hear it through. All right, with that, Mr.
Sort
Lally?
of. She picked up Lally,
Thank you,
sort of.
Sergeant Bukhenik, when you began to speak to the defendant, prior to any sort of substantive conversation, what, if any, conversation did you have with her about the conversation you were going to have?
I
Did you
just
read her
asked
rights?
to recount any events and the history between the actions that were taking place.
And how did she initially respond to that?
She stated that she's willing to answer our questions. She just doesn't want to go into too much detail about what transpired. And given the circumstances that she had just lived through, I understood and gave her that courtesy.
Did you Mirandize her?
As far as that interview or that conversation went, can you describe that conversation or the contents of that conversation to the jury?
Absolutely. The conversation was normal tone of voice like I am speaking to you right now. Ms. Reed responded in the same tone of voice, answered questions. The content of the conversation began with her saying that, as I stated, she doesn't want to go into too much detail, but she was willing to answer our questions. We asked what she had for plans, what she had for as far as activity the night before, leading up to Mr. O'Keefe being discovered. She stated that she
Whoa.
was
Hold on. Stop. I wanted to stop to say to you, he's trying to make it sound like she was speaking in a normal tone of voice, that she was very calm. Did they sedate her in the emergency room when your predecessors, the Canton PD, had her sectioned? Trooper, did they sedate her? Did they give her anything in the emergency room? I bet you they did. She doesn't want to go into too much detail. Do you see the brush with which he's painting this? The lens that he wants the jury to look through? She was speaking in a totally normal tone of voice.
She had for plans, what she had for what into too much detail, but she was willing to answer our questions. We asked what she had for plans, what she had for as far as activity the night before, leading up to Mr. O'Keefe being discovered. She stated that she was in a relationship with Mr. O'Keefe that morning, meaning the 28th of January. She got into a fight with Mr. O'Keefe over what the niece and nephew were being fed for breakfast, or what they had for breakfast.
Dunkin' Donuts?
She went on
Iced
to
coffee?
say that she met Mr. O'Keefe at CF McCarthy's approximately 9 p.m. the night of the 28th of January, 2022. She stated that the gentlemen were drinking, consuming beers, Bud Lights, and she was drinking
Bud Lights.
vodka soda. Prior to moving on to the bar at Waterfall, the defendant was asked where she parked her vehicle. She told me that she parked her vehicle on Washington Street across the street from C.F. McCarthy's, facing northbound. So the vehicle was on the side of Waterfall Bar and Grill. We went on through the conversation, the interview, to the Waterfall restaurant, at which point she was asked if she left C.F. McCarthy's with a beverage or a container from that establishment, to which point she stated that she did not.
Because what? Because Jen McCabe already told you that morning? So you already had some questions to ask her during one of the 4 interviews that Jen McCabe made? Okay.
She also confirmed that Mr. O'Keefe did not have any injuries on him when she interacted with him at C.F. McCarthy's or the Waterfall. He did not get into any verbal or physical altercations with anyone to have sustained those injuries. She stated that once at the Waterfall, they stayed for approximately an hour, hanging out with acquaintances. And then they left the Waterfall. She drove them to, after they were invited to a residence, she drove them to a location in Canton where she dropped Mr. O'Keefe off.
Wow. So she's telling you that she drove to 34 Fairview to dropped Mr. Officer O'Keefe off, but you want us to believe that she told other witnesses that she doesn't remember driving there. She doesn't remember. And Jen McCabe told you earlier in the morning that Karen said, I don't remember going to your sister's house. And that Carrie Roberts said to Jen, well, you were driving drunk. You could have hit anything that's why you got the cracked taillight. Shut up. But meanwhile, at least 1 or 2 witnesses said that Karen said. Like, we're into like double hearsay now. I don't remember going to his sister's house. I don't remember dropping him off at 34 Fairview. I only remember leaving him at the Waterfall. We had a fight and I left him at the Waterfall. But around 2:30, when they go to interview her, she's very clear about the fact that she dropped him off at 34 Fairview. Is everyone picking up what I'm laying down here? So who gave false information about Karen saying, I don't remember going to your sister's house. I don't remember going to 34 Fairview. I don't remember anything about last night. And again, Christy, a painter's daughter, great point. They're going there to tow her car. They're going there to tow her car because they're assuming the car is the murder weapon. And yet they do not tape her interview, videotape her interview, record her interview in any way, write it out, have her sign it. No. At this point, she's a suspect. Am I right? Because why else are they towing her vehicle? No. None of that happened here. I think the jury's picking up on that. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. But she told him she dropped John off at 34 Fairview. They were invited there.
She was asked if she saw Mr. O'Keefe walk into the home at 34 Fairview, and she stated she did not. She stated that she made a 3-point turn after dropping him off and left. She was asked whether or not Mr. O'Keefe, excuse me, let me back up. She was asked if
I forgot to add something.
How she found out about the damage to her vehicle, to which she stated, quote, I don't know, it happened last night, end quote.
Take pictures of the damage to the vehicle, sir.
Now, at some point earlier in the interview, what, if any, indication did she give as to who Mr. O'Keefe was with when she arrived at C.H. McCarthy's and sort of how long he had been with those respective people?
She indicated that Mr. O'Keefe was with Mr. Camarano, Kurt Roberts, at which point she was asked to provide contact information, meaning phone numbers for those individuals, at which time she picked up the phone on the right armrest of the couch, manipulated the device, entering a passcode, and
Manipulated
provided
it.
that phone number to Trooper Proctor and I.
She manipulated the device. Notice the choice of words. Not she entered the password. Not she used face recognition. She
At any
manipulated the
point in time
device.
in the conversation or interview you had with her, what, if anything, did the defendant say in regard to why she had not gone into the residence at Fairview Road herself?
The defendant stated that she was having stomach issues and did not want to enter the residence.
She has Crohn's, by the way.
What, if anything, did she tell you about the later on that morning of the 29th?
She stated that when she woke up, she began looking for Mr. O'Keefe. And when she found him in the snow, she began CPR on Mr. O'Keefe.
And what, if anything, did she say to you about any observations she made of Mr. O'Keefe later on that morning as far as any injuries to Mr. O'Keefe?
The defendant stated that while she was performing CPR, Mr. O'Keefe had sustained injuries and was bleeding from the nose and the mouth.
I want to know if his nose was broken.
What did she say about Mr. O'Keefe's eyes at that time?
The defendant stated that Mr. O'Keefe's eyes were swollen.
Is that both eyes? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, as the interview progressed, at some point, did you ask questions seeking further details?
Yes, I did.
And details about what specifically were you asking?
Once we got to the point in time where the defendant told me she did a 3-point turn, I asked her to walk through step by step of her operating the vehicle and exactly what she did. Prior to that, I asked her, so she was asked to give a step-by-step recollection of how she, what she did in manipulating the vehicle and leaving the scene.
And at that point, was the interview terminated?
Yes, it was.
All right, then the interview was terminated. Keep in mind that every single witness who said that they saw her car and they saw her car pull away, all saw her pull up facing the same direction and leaving in the same direction. Jen McCabe, Matt McCabe, Ricky D'Antano. Some of the witnesses testified that her car was gone before Ricky D'Antano even got there with Ryan Nagel in his truck. I don't know where this 3-point turn is coming from, but that was the Commonwealth's original theory of the case. They have since changed that theory of their case to Karen Reed going 60 feet in reverse at 24.2 miles an hour and striking John O'Keefe and leaving him to die in the snow. But he's saying that she did a 3-point turn.
Now,
Or that she said
once
she
the interview
did 3
concluded or was terminated, what, if anything, did you do with reference to Ms. Reed's phone and the defendant's vehicle?
Once the interview was terminated, I advised Ms. Reed that her phone was going to be seized as evidence and her vehicle was going to be seized as evidence as well.
Oh, but you didn't read her rights, but you're seizing her
Did you
phone?
subsequently seize both of those items, sir?
Yes, we did.
And similar to the clothing of Mr. O'Keefe, as far as evidence was concerned, was that packaged and taped and transported back to the office in a similar fashion?
The vehicle was transported via tow truck that was dispatched by Dighton PD on our request.
And so when you get back outside of the residence after the conclusion of your interview with the defendant, what, if anything, did you observe going on with regard to the driveway and or any other vehicles that weren't there when you went into the house?
During our interview, I glanced out the window and I saw flashing amber lights and a tow truck plowing the driveway. So the driveway was plowed, and the tow truck was, plow truck was plowing the driveway, not the tow truck. And the tow truck was loading the vehicle onto the flatbed.
And at any point in time when you were outside of the residence, what, if any, observations did you make as far as cameras or anything like that on the exterior of the home?
I did not see cameras on the exterior of the home at that point in time.
Did you look?
Subsequent to that date, did you become aware that there were exterior cameras that record on the exterior of the home in Dayton?
Subsequently, yes, we learned that there was video recording of the residence and the driveway.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
We're
Yes.
A little
What
bit
do you
behind.
recognize that to be?
I recognize it to be Dayton videos as it relates to the location where the interview and the vehicle was seized from.
And what's contained on that, as far as the video is concerned, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of what you observed as far as the defendant's vehicle being loaded onto a tow truck?
Yes, it is.
Thank you.
The video of the interview?
Yes.
I'll look to see if you can introduce the minutes of the next exhibit.
You've got video of the car going on the tow truck, but no video of the interview. Where was the warrant to seize her phone and car? I think,
And Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could publish those two short clips for the jury?
Yes.
please.
Gentlemen, if you could click on it and then pause when it permits. You could press the mic.
Still, you need to keep your voice up.
Yes. You want to pause right there, please? Now, the Sergeant Bukhenik, from this particular point of the video, do you recognize the vehicle that has just pulled into the driveway?
Yes, I do.
Is that the same driveway that you had walked up from the street to the house in Dayton on that morning?
Yes, it is.
As far as the vehicle is concerned, what do you recognize that vehicle to be?
That would be the Lexus SUV owned by the defendant, Bear, Massachusetts, registration 3 GC 684.
Gentlemen, if you could press play from there. This moment, if you could pause right there. Two individuals just exited that vehicle, is that correct, Sergeant?
That's correct.
Do you recognize who those individuals are as far as who they are and from what part of the vehicle they exited from?
Yes, the passenger side exit was the defendant, and then the driver's side vehicle was Mr. Reed.
That'd be the defendant's father, is that correct?
That's correct.
And this gentleman, if you could play this to the end. Now, Sergeant, towards the end of that video, did you observe the defendant and her father in any specific area in relation to that vehicle?
Yes, I observed the defendant and her father at the rear right taillight, gesturing or signaling towards the affected, damaged, and missing parts of the taillight.
Objection. Where's the video of that?
I'll allow just the direction that they were signaling.
And how do you know they weren't saying, can you get my stuff out of the trunk later? Give me a break, dude. And of course, you know, she doesn't rule on the objection until after he has answered. I'm going to take it back a second.
Signaling towards the affected, damaged, and missing parts of the taillight.
I'll allow just the direction that they were signaling out. Okay.
As far as that vehicle's position within the driveway, is that essentially the position that you observed it in when you and Trooper Proctor and Officer Barrows were walking up the driveway to the home?
Yes, it was.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could have a second of those two videos.
She did have chunk in her stuff from John's. You're right. Where is the waist deep snow?
If you could pause it there, please.
Pay attention, everyone.
Again, Sergeant Bukhenik, if you could describe to the jury what you observed of significance within this particular video.
This video captures the vehicle being moved into position to be loaded up onto the flatbed for transport from the scene.
Gentlemen, if you could play for me.
The time here is 16:12 and 11 seconds. So 4:12 is going on the tow truck.
I just asked her to pause right
Yeah,
there.
you really have to keep your voice up.
Yes. Sergeant Bukhenik, from this still image from this video, what, if anything, of significance do you observe in relation to the vehicle at this time that is being loaded onto the tow truck?
The rear taillight is illuminated. You could see a white light coming from that taillight.
If you could, using that laser pointer you have before you, just direct the jury's attention to the specific area you're talking about.
Right there.
Okay, do you guys see that? Because it's really hard to see. These red lights on the tow truck also look white because they have snow on them. I see a huge red piece here. So I don't know. I don't know. It's hard for me to see.
Just go if you could play this through the.
So you didn't take photos and you're going to just rely on the Reed's Ring camera video.
Just go and you can take that down. Now, Sergeant Bukhenik, as far as when you left the residence in Dayton, where is it that you went?
Can we turn the lights on, Mr. Lally?
Yes, my apologies.
Once we left the residence in Dayton, we proceeded following the tow truck back to the Canton Police Department.
And was there anywhere else that either you or the tow truck went between Dayton and the Canton Police Department?
No, sir.
And when you say we, it's yourself and Trooper Proctor, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, once you arrived at the Canton Police Department, where did the vehicle go?
The vehicle was unloaded and put into a heated sally port located at the Canton Police Department.
And in reference to the Canton Police Department and putting it in the sally port, why was it that it was taken to that location?
It's a location that serves as a storage for a vehicle that would suffice for the size of the vehicle. The location is, as it related to the crime that took place was investigated, was in that town. So we utilized their facility. It was also a heated facility to help melt the snow that had been accumulating on the vehicle.
And at some point, well, as far as some point subsequent to this,
Do I need to point out again that the Canton Police Department was conflicted out of this case because Kevin Albert, who was a police officer at Canton PD, is the brother of Brian Albert. And yet they still decide they're going to tow the vehicle to Canton PD instead of one of the many sally ports owned and operated by the Massachusetts State Police, just to maybe avoid the appearance of impropriety or the appearance of a conflict. But no, they're going to take it all the way back to Canton because that's where the crime happened. And that's where the friendlies are, maybe. I don't know. And Higgins can just cut through the sally port all day. Many sally ports on the way. You're correct.
did you learn that there are exterior cameras of the Canton Police Department as well as cameras within the Sally Port garage area?
Yes, I
good.
did.
Missing
Have you
video.
reviewed each of those respective cameras prior to your testimony here today?
Yes, I have.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Good. And we're missing video. They didn't take pictures, so they're relying on Karen's parents' Ring video for the footage you just saw, which to me looks like the taillight is intact.
So I'm showing you a disc. Just have to look at that, look up when we finish. Do you recognize that, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
The Canton Police Department driveway with video.
And what's contained on that is that fair and accurate portrayal of yourself and the tow truck pulling into the Canton Police Department driveway on that afternoon or early evening of January 29th.
Yes, it is.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
almost seek to introduce the minutes of that exhibit.
Awesome. Let's see it.
Okay.
That's right, Angela. They didn't even cover the vehicle before transporting it to preserve evidence, and they took 3 attempts to load it onto the truck. Thanks, Angela Burke, for that. You guys come in here with all the info. Love that. Little powwow among the defense team. But, you know, Court TV doesn't seem to care about attorney-client privilege because they'll zoom right in so that everyone can read the lips of what the attorneys are saying to each other, these privileged conversations. I like the AV squad guy. Anybody know what his name is? Sitting right behind here. He's the defense team's AV.
Thank you for that, Your Honor. No objection.
Okay.
And Your Honor, with the court's permission, we publish that video to jury this time.
Okay.
Find your voice, Lally. Find your voice. Yes, Max, tow truck drivers are supposed to take pictures of the vehicle.
And just for reference points, in regard to this view of this camera, Sergeant, you're familiar with the Canton Police Station?
Yes, I am.
And so where is this camera view in relation to the Canton Police Department and the Sally Port Garage where the vehicle eventually goes?
This camera is capturing the driveway entrance to the Canton Police Department. As viewed from Washington Street, that driveway there is on the left side of the structure. The camera itself is pointing towards the entrance of the driveway to the Canton Police Department. As you can see, the brake light illuminated in the shot. That is a Canton Police cruiser sitting at the edge of the driveway right by Washington Street.
So for orientation purposes, as far as the tow truck and your vehicle, is that coming from the top of the screen to the bottom or the bottom to the top?
It's coming from the top left to the bottom right of the screen towards the rear of the building where the Sally Port is located.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman, if you could. Pause there, Ms. Gilman. Now, as far as what's depicted in this still shot of this video, Sergeant, what if anything do you observe?
That is the tow truck transporting the defendant's vehicle, arriving at Canton PD. My vehicle with Trooper Proctor inside, me operating, are following closely behind as we did the entire way from Dayton all the way to Canton.
Ms. Gilman, if you could play that to the end.
The time on this video says 5:31 and 13 seconds.
Thank you. Now, as far as the interior of the Sally Port Garage,
Put the lights. Thank you.
as far as the interior Sally Port of the garage, you mentioned that that is a heated area, is that correct?
That's correct.
And as far as the heat within that, do you know how that is produced or how hot it gets in there as far as the time that you spent within there?
I do not know, but it was a standard garage heating system that blows hot air. As far as temperature, when the doors were open, that day it was freezing cold. It was, I believe, like 18 degrees with, winds blowing. So inside the garage inside the Sally Port with the doors open, it was quite cold. Once the doors shut, the temperature rose above freezing, and the snow began to melt off of the vehicle.
And from the arrival of that vehicle into the Sallyport garage area, are you aware or have you reviewed video in reference to that?
Yes, I did.
And Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
And Lucky We Trust says Cruiser's red taillight, red and snow, looks white like Karen's taillight.
Going you another disc, sir. Just ask you to review that when you finish. And do you recognize that, sir?
Yes, I do.
And does that contain the video that you were just testifying about as far as the arrival of the vehicle at the Canton Police Department Sallyport garage?
Yes, it is.
Thank you. May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
Come up and seek to introduce in the minutes of the next exhibit.
No objection, Your Honor.
Now, Sergeant, before we get to that video, if I could just ask, if you know, approximately what time was it that you left Dayton following that tow truck back to the Canton Police Department?
We left Dayton approximately 4:15, 4:20, and we followed the vehicle back to Canton, arriving probably around 5:30 or so.
Hour and 15 minutes it took to get
PM.
back.
Thank you, sir. And Your Honor, with the court's permission, if we could publish that video for the jury.
Okay.
Video killed the radio star. You killed the radio star. Okay, watch everyone. The time on this is wicked small, but it's at the bottom.
Ms. Gilman, if you could just pause there for a moment. Sergeant, direct your attention up to the video on the screen just for orientation purposes again. First of all, do you recognize what's depicted in this video?
Yes, I do.
What do you recognize it to be?
That is the Sallyport two-bay garage at Canton Police Department with the antique Canton Cruiser on the bottom of the screen, and the open spot for a vehicle in the middle of the screen with the four-wheel drive all-terrain vehicle at the top.
Now, as far as, again, for orientation purposes, the driveway that the jury just witnessed in the prior exhibit, is that to the left of the screen, the right of the screen, or something else?
Thanks, Chelsea.
The driveway is to the right of the screen.
And this vehicle, the defendant's vehicle is sort of taken into the garage from the opposite side or from the left of the screen, is that correct?
Correct.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could, please.
Who are the three men in the Sallyport?
May we approach briefly?
Okay. Could you pause that, Ms. Gilman?
Serene says doesn't heated with the snow. Right. Why is there a snow island? I thought it was heated. That's why he said they went there, because it's heated. And I do too, Tian. I want them to identify who was in the workshop. Sallyport. We're a little behind, so now we get to catch up with maybe real time. Oh, maybe. All right, hang on. Let's put this on for a second.
All rise for the court.
4 o'clock. And if anybody needs a break now, but I think take a short afternoon break on our long days at about a half an hour. But I think the better use of our time is to give you a 10-minute break now. And then we'll go straight through till 4 o'clock. And if anybody needs a break,
All rise for the court, please.
Okay, so
Jurors, follow me, please.
they said they brought it to Canton, Mike. They did ask him this. They said they brought it to Canton because that's where the accident happened, or the incident, or the murder. It was in their jurisdiction. And also they have a heated Sallyport there. So, you know, because of the weather, made sense for them to take it all the way back to Canton instead of one of the many other Sallyports that are run by the Massachusetts State Police that were on the way back from Dighton to Canton. Craig is his name. Craig, the AV guy. High five, shout out to Craig. He's doing a phenomenal job right there, bringing us all of the video and all of the exhibits for the defense. He is the defense expert, AV guy.
John, if may the witness leave the stand just for a moment.
Sure. Yeah, we'll see you back here in about 10 minutes, Sergeant.
Okay, they need to excuse him. Maybe they're going to argue something. I love when they argue.
You are
My
unmuted.
favorite part.
Okay, so you want us to watch this now?
If you please the court, yes.
Obviously, the defense has an objection to this coming in, and we're going to find out why, maybe, when they argue about why it shouldn't come in. I'll full screen it for you. Give me some sigh emojis, friends. I hear some breathing in the mic. It's not me.
May I get just a little closer?
Sure. Can we turn out the lights, please, Dave? Thank you.
Yeah, I thought it was backed in too. Also, as well. I too thought that. I mean, okay, and then the lights go off. I couldn't make it out either, Mark, and I went up close to my TV. They're shoveling the snow away in front of the car. You know what would be really funny? If they got a snow brush out and start brushing the snow off the car. That'd be really funny. Denicia Rose says, my guess is Higgins, Kevin Albert, and Tully. Perry says, no snow on it when they brought it in. They brushed it all off outside. Max Bang Bang says there was an edit between those guys walking around the Sallyport and the car pulling in. Go back and watch. Bet you the defense is going to do that, but if not, we will, Rye. I mean, Max, no worries. Did you hear the judge said, Jim? Now it appears there are 5 people walking around the murder weapon, the alleged murder weapon, Karen Reed's SUV, and the fan's back. Why? What's with the jump cut to the fan? What had happened? They just jump cut to the fan.
All right.
Okay, now there's like 4 or 5 guys standing at the rear of the vehicle. Real secure. I wonder if Higgy's cutting through at any time during this video. There's a hand truck of some sort that one person is coming to move. And then she says, Jim. They're doing the apron. And they're shutting the door. Oh, and now they're finding the crime scene tape. They found the crime scene tape, everyone. Never fear. The crime scene tape is here. The date and time on the video is at the very, very bottom and very, very hard to read. Sort of like navy blue print. I can't read it. Yeah, there was another jump cut there. Kathy says, remember, Higgins was in the Sallyport. The truck is on the opposite side in this video. I noticed that too, but I wasn't sure if I was being crazy. It says door number 4 on that door. Thanks, Jennifer, for your super chat. Is that a boxing dummy in the Sallyport? Oh, I don't know what that is. Wearing the yellow shirt right here? What is that? Yeah, we got to get the likes up. Thanks, Scott. Got to get the likes up for the afternoon stream. Just because you hit it
Is
for the
that
morning
the end of it, Mr. Lally? Or-
doesn't carry over.
I believe so, yes.
Is that the end of it, Ms. Gilman? Okay. All right. Lights on, please, Dave. Thank you. All right. So I have a copy of the printed docket on 424. Paper number 347 was the Commonwealth's Notice of Discovery XL. I just asked Mr. McDermott to print it for me. Our printer up here doesn't work. All right, so that was before we impaneled. That was the day, I believe, of the long motion in limine trial.
Motion eliminate.
All right, so we'll take a 5-minute break, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
I believe the defense is objecting, saying it was a late disclosure, that they did not even turn this video over to the defense until jury selection. Are you shocked? Surprised? Not really. I'm
All
just hitting
right,
it.
so we'll take a 5-minute. All right, so that was before we impaneled. That was the day, I believe, of the long motion in limine.
Yeah, but when
trial.
did you rule on it, Your Honor? Did you ever rule on it? I don't think she did.
All right, so we'll take a 5-minute break, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor.
We had a lot of motions in lemonade. But today, the closed captions are calling them motions eliminate. Well, that's kind of whack. All right, let me just fast forward us up to, because we rewound to watch a little bit more of the video. And the fan is still up, so don't worry. We're not going to miss a beat, you guys. We're not going to miss a beat. Michael Martin, thank you for your super chat. 3 little pigs, green jelly for Higgins, Proctor, and Bukhenik. Thank you, Michael, for the 5. Love Heals, thanks for the 5 song for general heartbreak mood. Blue on Black by Kenny Wayne Shepherd. Always makes me so sad. Thank you, Love Heals. Vanny Annie, thank you for the super sticker. Walking on Broken Glass, Annie Lennox. That's a good one. Leanne Wilson, thanks for the super chat. Someone was talking yesterday on Court TV regarding Karen's demeanor, saying she was laughing and not taking the situation seriously. What? Leanne, if you want to protect your mental health about this case, don't watch Court TV. Just don't. Don't watch Court TV. They especially don't watch Julie Grant's coverage. She will infuriate you. And if you have had the courage to watch Law and Crimes coverage and been in that chat, you will see that several people, many people, all the people have convicted Karen for her facial expressions. And she's guilty because she smirks. All right, they're back. They're back. It's like Poltergeist. Breathe, everyone, breathe.
All right, so we're ready to pick right up where we left off.
We're ready. Thank you, Robert.
Martian Planet Art, thank you. If Proctor doesn't testify,
So
then
I'll just
Kenny
be clear,
Rogers,
the objection's overruled, Mr. Jackson.
coward of the county.
Thank
Oh,
you.
of course the objection's overruled. It doesn't matter how late the Commonwealth turns over their evidence, even though they've had it for years.
Sergeant, we're going to start up again with the video.
Your Honor.
Your Honor, for the record, I believe we're picking up where it was paused, which was 5:35:36.
Okay?
She sounds happier now. Is 5:35:36 the time?
If you could pause right there. And Sergeant, as far as the condition of the vehicle as you observe it in this sort of pause still shot of the video, is that a fair and accurate portrayal of the condition as far as the snow or ice or anything you observe on that vehicle when it came into the Sally Port garage?
Yes, it is.
Just tell me if you could play from there.
Who's in her car? Okay, it just jump cut again. Hold on, stop. Stop. I mean, stop me. I'm stopping. Why is someone in her car in the passenger side? Hold on. Watch this jump cut when he gets out of the car.
When it came into the Sally Port garage?
Yes, it is.
Just tell me if you could play from there.
Jump. Did you see that jump?
Just tell me if you could just pause there for a moment.
Oh, now I see some white there,
All right, so keep your voice up.
I think.
Sergeant Bukhenik, with reference to any individuals you see in this video, do you recognize any of those individuals?
I can recognize Trooper Proctor myself. Other than that, I don't remember exactly who else was present at this moment in time.
If you could start using the laser pointer before you, just direct your attention to where you observe yourself and where you observe Trooper Proctor.
That's Trooper Proctor and myself. Yeah.
At any point in time when you were present with this vehicle in the Sally Port garage this evening of January 29, 2022, did either yourself or did you observe Trooper Proctor touch or manipulate in any way the right rear passenger side area of that vehicle?
No, we did not.
Ms. Gilman, if you could play from here.
Let's go back in the passenger side of the vehicle. Slam the door. Maybe there's a hair on that side of the car. We've seen 5 men, I think, in this video, and Bukhenik only recognizes himself and Proctor. Who were the other 3? Taillight looks intact to me from this angle. How about you? This is the driver's side? The video is reversed? Huh? But it can't be because they want us to look at this taillight here, and this is the passenger side taillight. The 4 is backwards on the door, inverted video. Well, then, if what you're saying is true, and this is the driver's side, then that's the wrong taillight. I don't see how it could be. I don't know. Am I missing something? I saw the 4 was backwards, but I didn't know what to make of that. Hopefully an expert can explain that to me. There are 6 people? Is this a deep fake? Is that what you're telling me? Yeah, Canton Police. You can see that right on the back of this car. It's backwards.
I want to take a pause there just for a moment. Dr. Bukhenik, from what you're observing in this video, what you've seen or what you recall from this, what is it that you and Proctor and some of the other officers are doing now?
We're establishing a perimeter around the vehicle with yellow tape in order to prevent or alert and advise anyone in the area to stay away from the vehicle.
Please come and get this played to the end, please.
It's the magical mystery Sallyport.
You can take that down, Mr. Officer. We can have the lights back on. Now, Sergeant Bukhenik, are you aware of a warrant that was executed on that vehicle on February 1st of 2022?
I am aware.
And you yourself were not present for that, is that correct?
I was not present for the execution, no, sir.
Trooper Proctor was, as far as you're aware, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, the next time that you were within the Canton Police Department Sallyport garage with the vehicle was on February 2nd, is that correct?
That's correct.
And on that day, where did the vehicle go from the police station?
From the Canton Police Station, I escorted the vehicle to the Milton Barracks for safekeeping.
Okay. Okay. Wait a second now. So January 29th, they go to Dighton. They seize the car without a warrant. They tow it back to the Canton Sally Port. They don't get a warrant until February 1st of 2022. And then on February 2nd, they move it to the Milton Barracks for safekeeping. Okay.
And why was it taken from the Canton Police Station on February 2nd to the Milton Police Barracks? Or what had occurred in the intervening part between January 29th and February 2nd?
The Canton Police Department had recused themselves from interviews and in that portion of the investigation. And now that the vehicle had been processed, we needed to free up the Canton Sally Port so they can utilize that facility for transporting prisoners to their facility and booking.
So is it your testimony that that Canton PD wasn't recused until February 2nd of 2022? Because we were told they were recused that same day, January 29th of 2022. Conflicting testimony here.
So we stored the now processed vehicle back at the Milton Barracks in a unheated garage.
And Your Honor, if with the court's permission, if I could publish just a very brief portion of what's been marked as Exhibit 34,
Okay.
which is the Canton Police Department Sally Port garage camera.
Okay.
And Ms. Gilman, what you have up there, I'm sorry, February 2nd, 2022, approximately 8:09 a.m. And I'm just going to ask you to play that through till about 8:10:26.
I can't see a damn thing in this video. Can you?
Sergeant, just for orientation purposes, again, this is another camera from within the same Sally Port garage. Is that correct?
That's correct. That's the opposite view from what we just viewed in the previous video.
And as far as any of the people in this video, do you recognize any of the individuals in there?
I believe that's myself and then another officer. I don't know who that other officer is.
And just again, using the laser pointer, if you could, direct the jury's attention to where you see yourself.
What is this?
And as far as the condition of the vehicle from January 29th, when you saw it on that day, to February 2nd, when you saw it on that day, as far as the exterior of the vehicle, what, if anything, was different, or what, if anything, did you note or observe?
I noted the taillight removed and the evidence collected.
And as far as the snow and the caked on ice that you observed on that prior day, was that still present on February 2nd?
No, that had melted away.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could again, I'm sorry, just play through the 8:10:26.
I wonder if the jury can see this because I can't see anything. Bob Cousins sees Bigfoot. This is the best evidence they have, Kathy. I have no idea what this is supposed to be. If anybody can read the date on the bottom of this, please enlighten me. Bernie, what fresh hell is this? Ghost Hunters, Canton Edition. I see a 6-foot blob too, Kim.
So we can have the lights back on. Thank you. Now, Sergeant Bukhenik, with regard to Mr. O'Keefe's house at 1 Meadows Avenue in Canton, At some point, did you become aware throughout the course of your investigation that there were exterior cameras affixed to that residence as well?
Yes, I did.
And those were Ring cameras, is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, with respect to investigation, what, if any, steps were taken in order to secure any of that footage from the exterior of the house from the Ring?
Objection.
No, I'll allow it.
I'll allow it. Let me hear the question one more time.
That's correct.
Now, with respect to investigation, what, if any, steps were taken in order to secure any of that footage from the exterior of the house from the Ring?
Objection.
No, I'll allow it.
What, if any, steps were taken to secure the video from the Ring camera at One Meadows? What, if any, steps were taken to secure the video from any of the surrounding homes near 34 Fairview? That's what I want to know. Because that's a very important piece of the investigation. Wouldn't you agree? Yuri?
We applied for multiple search warrants.
Objection.
All right, I'll see you at sidebar on this.
Applied for multiple search warrants to get the Ring video from One Meadows, John's house.
And so, sir, during the course, let me ask you this, as far as this or any other investigation is concerned, how is it that members of your unit sort of work through an investigation or work on a case?
We,
Objection, Your Honor.
No, I'm going to allow that.
as a case comes in, we address each case on individual basis based on the evidence that is presented through testimony and physical evidence that is recovered. That is what guides our investigations, and we then develop leads and process information collected. Sometimes information needs to be collected from third-party holders of data or service providers, at which point to access that data, we apply for search warrants, which are guided.
Objection.
Okay, so leave it, move on from that.
Thank you.
So you apply for search warrants, we'll move on from that.
So, Sergeant, my question is more geared toward as far as individual personnel within your unit. How is it, is an investigation conducted as far as one trooper does everything, or is it a collaborative effort, or how is that?
Oh.
How is that?
Oh, they
The
are
reason I say
trying
we
to-
is because every investigation takes the entire unit typically to put an effort in to conduct interviews, analysis, and so forth. So it's a team effort each and every time.
Right. So you don't need to hear from Proctor, everyone. Never fear, because Yuri is here.
No investigation is a one-man show. That's why we call it a case officer, not a lead investigator, because the case officer organizes the individuals to assign different tasks and collect and organize the data that comes back from the
We don't call it a lead investigator. So Michael Proctor is not the lead investigator here, everyone.
third-party providers and from the interviews that are conducted.
As far as the interviews that are conducted through the course of this or any other investigation, is there ever an interview that's conducted just by one trooper or one person in any investigation that you've done with this unit?
It is, no. We conduct interviews with two people, whether it's a trooper and a local detective, or two troopers assigned to our office, other state police agent unit within the agency.
Now, as far as the case officer, who was the case officer on this particular investigation?
The case officer in this investigation was Trooper Michael Proctor.
And
Case
Trooper Proctor
officer.
works under your supervision, is that correct?
That's correct.
So as far as a search warrant for the Ring video from One Meadows Avenue, who specifically sat down, put pen to paper, and wrote the search?
Trooper Proctor was the affiant.
And as far as from that search warrant, are you aware of the materials that were provided by Ring in response to that search warrant?
Objection.
I'm going to allow it.
I am aware of it.
And have you reviewed both the material as well as the videos that were provided by Ring in response to that search warrant?
I did.
Now, with reference to those videos, specifically, did you observe if you know, with respect to those videos, how were they sort of ordered sequentially when in the manner in which they were provided as far as date, time, things of that nature?
Objection.
Ask it differently. Ask it differently, Mr. Lally.
So the videos that you received from Ring that you reviewed, correct?
Yes, I did.
Objection, Your Honor.
No, I'll allow that. So he's reviewed videos from Ring. Next question.
What, if any, information did they contain as far as date or time?
The data provided back from Ring provided videos. There was no date and time on the labeling of the identifier, unique identifier for each video, but it was presented in a sequential order, knowing that the last video presented from the provider was the last video within the scope of our request, and the first one being the first in that timeline.
In the scope of your request, the scope of the request of the warrant, what time frame are we talking about?
Objection.
I'll allow that.
The first warrant we requested from January 24th at midnight through January 30th at midnight.
And with respect to those videos that were provided, you reviewed each of those, is that correct?
That's correct.
And Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would ask to publish certain of those videos for the public this time.
So are these, why don't we come to sidebar?
Yeah. Yes, Copa. It was not his request. They are, and the judge is allowing it. The judge is allowing them to distance Proctor from this investigation. These were Proctor's subpoenas. He's the one who did this. They're allowing this witness to now change Proctor's title from lead investigator to case officer, and allowing this witness to testify that he is the supervisor of Proctor, and therefore he should be able to testify about everything that Proctor did. Jury's not going to buy this. I don't think, you guys. You tell me what you think.
Ms. Gilman, if I could have from what's been previously marked as Exhibit 6, first video 119.
Why January 24th to January 30th? He said none of these are dated individually, so they mean nothing.
With reference to this particular video, number 119 in Exhibit 6, Sergeant, what, if anything, can you tell the jury as far as the timing of this particular video?
Based on the appearance of the driveway, we know that this recording took place prior to the blizzard of January 29th.
And as far as anything that you observe in this video, as far as vehicles or people within those vehicles, what, if anything, did you observe within this video?
I observed Mr. O'Keefe's car parked in the same location as he typically parked it, and then
Objection. How does he know how he typically parked his car? How does he know how John O'Keefe typically parked his car? There's no foundation for this stuff, you guys. There's no foundation. This is undated. There's no timestamp. This witness is telling you that, oh, it must be before the January 29th blizzard. And we only requested from January 24th to January 30th. And even though there's no identifying marks on this whatsoever, and they're not calling in a witness from Ring to authenticate this stuff, this witness is going to be able to testify about it, because we are in the land of Judge Cannoni, where anything goes. Anything goes. There's another song for you from a musical, because this witness wants to tell you that's where John O'Keefe typically parked his car, because he has zero personal knowledge of that.
I'll strike the as he typically passes.
Yeah, thanks,
Um,
Judge.
Objection.
I'll strike the as he typically passes.
And then
I rewound it.
a black SUV parked perpendicularly to Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle, adjacent to the entryway to the garage.
Please tell me if you could press play on that. Please tell me if you could pause it. At some point in the course of your viewing of this video or the video surrounding it, were you able to identify the operator of the vehicle, the black SUV?
Yes, that is the defendant operating her black and color Lexus SUV bearing Massachusetts plate 3 GC 684.
And Ms. Dillman, if you could play.
You could still see white lights in the taillight in that video, and he's saying that's before the blizzard. Is he trying to say that Karen didn't hit his car that time, so why did she hit his car on the 29th a.m.? Because she was pulling out of the driveway on the
Sergeant
the
Buchanan,
garage.
you're also aware from your review of the ring videos from 1 Meadows Ave, another video depicting the defendant leaving the house sometime.
Yeah,
shortly
we're
after
going to play
5
it again,
a.m. on June.
KPT. We're going to play it again. Thank you. Okay. Notice her car is not parked in the garage, it's parked in the driveway. I don't know how we can tell that that's Karen, so hang on.
To this particular video, number 119, and anything can you tell the jury as far as the timing of this,
Know that this knife.
as far as vehicles?
I observed Mr. O'Keefe's car parked and then
Just want to watch the
then,
video portion.
to the entryway to the garage.
Please tell me if you could press play on that.
She's not backing out of the garage. Okay, there's a kid with a backpack. I don't know how he can see that that's Karen driving the car. I can't see, can you? Let's watch her taillight when she pulls out. We're going to freeze on it.
Please tell me if you could pause it. At some point in the course of your viewing of this video or the video surrounding it, were you able to identify the operator of the vehicle, black SUV?
Yes, that is the defendant operating her black and color Lexus SUV bearing Massachusetts plate 3 GC 684.
And Ms. Dillman, if you could play.
I'm going to full screen this and then we're going to stop it. Stop. Okay. He says this is before the incident. See how this little corner piece of this red taillight looks a little bit white there when she's going forward? Okay. It's going to play it a little bit more. Stop. See how there are portions here that look to appear white underneath the red? This is before January 29th. See, part of it looks white. Imagine what it looks like in a blizzard condition. Again, is it just me? Or do parts of it appear white on the side here and even in the back when the taillight is totally intact? Right? My friends, is he going to say that she intentionally backed into his car that morning because she has backed out of there before and not hit his car? Her car was parked in the driveway in this video. she parked in the garage the night of the early morning hours of January 29th. She wasn't used to parking in the garage, the right-hand garage, which would be all the way over here, completely different, backing up, and she was completely freaking out because he was missing. So, okay, this just proved to me that when the taillight's intact, I can still see white. Parts appear white, right? Okay. Great. Thanks for helping out the defense with this video. And still, as it goes down the driveway, there are still parts of it that look white, right? I'm not crazy. Okay, thanks, guys. Yeah, he did rearrange everything for her to park in the garage. She was not used to parking in the garage. Thank you, Copa.
Now, Sergeant Mechanic, you're also aware from your review of the ring videos from 1 Meadows Ave, another video depicting the defendant leaving the house sometime shortly after 5 a.m. on January 29th.
Oh, good.
Yes, I am.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could also from Exhibit 6 ask for, video 153.
Good. This will be the video of her backing out of the garage.
Now, Sergeant, with reference to this video and the one just previously from 119, where is Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle parked in relation to this video vis-a-vis the other video?
The vehicle's parked in the back corner of the driveway along the fence in the same location as it's parked in the previous video.
And at some point, do you see the defendant's vehicle back out of the garage in the same directionality that it did in the prior video 119?
Yes, you do.
Is directionality even a word? Okay, I'm going to stop it here. Watch the wheel of John's vehicle, the rear wheel, and tell me if you think it moves. They're going to try and say she didn't make contact with the car. I see it move. I saw the car move. Did you see the car move? I'm going to rewind it just a smidge. Ready? See it move?
Pause there for a second. Now, as far as the operator of that vehicle, are you able to observe who that operator is within that vehicle?
I observed the vehicle being operated. I cannot identify who the individual is.
He's
And
honest.
from that shot right there.
From at any point in the shot of the video that you observed, were you able to recognize the operator?
Not from that shot, no.
Now, with respect to the timing of this video, what time in the morning is this video?
The timing of this video is approximately 5:07 a.m.
Objection.
when the defendant left the
How do you
home
know?
through the garage via her vehicle.
Didn't you just say that none of these were timestamped?
Now, from this particular pause portion of the video, Sergeant, what, if anything, of significance do you observe within the still shot of this portion of the video 153?
The portion of this video in the still shot presented identifies a missing, damaged rear right taillight, exposing the white light coming from the right side of that taillight.
And if you could, using the laser pointer before you, draw the jury's attention to what you're talking about as far as that area of the defendant's vehicle. Now, earlier in that video, did you observe the defendant's vehicle coming close to or coming into contact with Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle?
Yes, I did.
And as far as Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle, at least from this video, what, if any, damage did you observe to Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle?
No damage.
And as far as the ground area around where Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle is parked, specifically the rear of that vehicle, what, if any, red pieces or anything you observe on the ground around Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle?
Nothing was observed.
Okay, wait a second. When did he say that he inspected John's vehicle? Hold on. We're going to have to watch this maybe a couple of times, you guys.
Before
From
you
the damage up.
anything Of significance do you observe within the still shot of this portion of the video 153?
The portion of this video in the still shot presented identifies a missing, damaged rear right taillight, exposing the white light coming from the right side of that taillight.
And if you could, using the laser pointer before you, draw the jury's attention to what you're talking about as far as that area of the defendant's vehicle. Now, earlier in that video, did you observe the defendant's vehicle coming close to or coming into contact with Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle?
Yes, I did.
And as far as Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle, at least from this video, what, if any, damage did you observe to Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle?
At least from this video, what damage did you observe to Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle? Really? From looking at this video where there's snow, which some have called whiteout conditions. This is 5:07 a.m. He says, even though there's no marking to tell us what time it is, he admits, first of all, he admits that Karen Reed hit John's car. But he's asked to opine from looking at this video if he saw any damage to John's car. Are you kidding me? Okay. I can't even see John's car hardly at all in this video. Okay.
No damage.
And as far as the ground area around where Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle is parked, specifically the rear of that vehicle, what, if any, red pieces or anything do you observe on the ground around Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle?
Nothing was observed.
Well, Canton PD didn't observe any red pieces of taillight that morning either, even though they had, a search team and they were looking for evidence and there was this much snow. See how little snow there is? You can see by her tire track, you can see the asphalt underneath, maybe an inch. So, he can't see any red pieces of taillight, but neither could the Canton PD. So I guess all for one and one for all. I submit to you that the taillight piece might have been pushed into the taillight housing and would not have fallen into the freshly driven snow.
And Ms. Gilman, from Exhibit 6, if I could have video number 165. View this video as well.
Yes, I have.
And when time-wise, in relation to January 29th, approximately is this video?
It's approximately like 12:30 in the afternoon.
And as far as the vehicles in the foreground area from this particular camera shot, you know whose vehicles those are?
Yes. The vehicle in the top left corner is Mr. O'Keefe's vehicle. Vehicle in the middle left is the defendant's vehicle. And I do not know who the other two vehicles are.
Ms. Gilman, if you could press play.
I'm mystified, Rick. Rick says, is Lally Team Reed now? This is 100% exculpatory.
And Sergeant, from the two individuals exiting from that vehicle, do you recognize who those individuals are?
Yes,
I do.
And if you could, just using the laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to whom you recognize and identify who that person is.
That there is the defendant, and that there is Mr. Reed.
Again, Mr. Reed, the defendant's father, is that correct?
That's correct.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could press play.
Did we establish when this is?
Thank you. Ms. Gilman, if you could pull up video 166 from this same Exhibit 6.
Peace in Christ says Lally gaslit himself.
Ms. Gilman, if you could pause there just for a moment. Sergeant, you recognize the person that just exited from that vehicle and behind the defendant's vehicle?
Yes, I do.
Who do you recognize that to be?
As a defendant's brother.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could press play.
When did he ever say he met Karen's brother? I'm sorry, did I miss that part? Shanae, you can go get a bottle of wine whenever you want. We're not going to judge. It's a no judgment zone. And she says, are we going to get cross today before I go and drink a bottle of wine? I believe we were shown these videos earlier during someone else's testimony. This video, anyway. See how we don't know what date and time this is because that's not important for the jurors to know, apparently.
Exhibit 6. Video 171.
Laura says she's on her second bottle. Drink up. That was enlightening.
Take that down. Mr. Officer, we can have the lights back on. Sergeant, from your review of those videos, at various points you observed the defendant's brother cleaning off the defendant's car, correct?
That's correct.
At any point in time, did you observe the defendant's brother cleaning off the area of the right rear passenger side's taillight of the defendant's car?
I did not.
Wait, was he using a snow brush to clean off the car? I'm sorry, my mind was wandering. Was he using a snow brush? Could that explain the hair on the side of the car? The apparent hair? So what? So her brother was in on it. He didn't brush off the tail light because he knew it was broken. Is that what we're trying to say, Lally? It's Jameson and ginger time.
Now,
Somebody
Sergeant,
said rum and
turning your
ginger.
attention to February 1st of 2022. Yourself and Trooper Connor Keith, is that someone you're familiar with?
I am.
And he works within your unit as well?
Yes, he does.
And at some point, did you and Trooper Keith on that day go to the CF McCarthy's establishment?
Yes, we did.
And what was the purpose of your visit to CF McCarthy's on that day?
The purpose of our visit was to retrieve surveillance video during the target time in question that we knew the victim and the defendant had visited that establishment. Also, any transaction receipts that we could collect from that location.
And were you able to retrieve both video as well as transaction receipts from that establishment?
We were.
And I'm sorry, my apologies. Before I get into that, may I approach the witness, Your Honor?
Yes.
Which establishment are we on now? Are we on Waterfall or CF McCarthy's? I don't feel like rewinding. because he's making me want to stick a fork in my eye at this point.
And stop when you finish.
McCarthy's. Thank you, Gina. The first bar, CF McCarthy's.
What do you recognize those to be? And do you recognize those, sir?
I do.
And what do you recognize those to be?
I recognize these to be still photographs of the ring video that we just watched.
And that would be video 153, the one with the defendant backing out sometime after 5 a.m. on January 29th.
That's correct.
But
Your Honor.
I
Yes.
thought we were
Come on, seek to
Going
introduce
to
and
the-
submit as the next exhibit.
McCarthy's. Why are we doing still photos of the video that we just watched? Hey, you says, I'm behind, but I can see the blue time on the bottom of the Sally port, 1613? That'd be 413. But I thought they didn't load it onto the tow truck until 410. That's interesting. Look at us on real time, guys. No, we're not. Can't be. We watch those videos over and over.
Ms. Gilman, if I could.
Lally Dragon.
Photograph number 30.
That's what we should call it. Lally Dragon when you're like procrastinating so that the other side doesn't get to cross today. It's called Lally Dragon.
And Sergeant, you recognize what's up on the screen now as exhibit 456.
I do.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could just zoom towards the rear of the vehicle. Have a moment, Charlie.
Yes.
I can hear the attorneys whispering. That's what they're saying. Just turn my head like this to look at it.
And Sergeant, what's up on the screen now? If you could direct the jury's attention with that laser pointed to the area of the rear passenger side taillight that you were describing damage in.
That's after she hit John's car, yeah? Doesn't look like there's 47 pieces missing, but you know, that's just me.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Officer, you can have the lights back up. Thank you, sir. So Sergeant Bukhenik, if I could take you again, I'm sorry, back on February 1st to CF McCarthy's. You secured video and receipts from that establishment on that day.
That's correct.
And as far as the video and receipts, were you then able to subsequently review those at some point?
Yes, I was.
Now, first, starting with respect to the video. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Wolfram, it's red, yeah.
Take a look at those, look up when you're finished.
Those are still shots of the CF McCarthy's surveillance video
Okay.
that we collected from that establishment, from the dining room camera angle.
May I approach again, Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm about to seek to introduce in a minute as the next exhibit.
No objection, Your Honor.
Thank you.
461 and 460.
Thank you.
No,
Your
I
Honor,
think we
with the
can
court's
catch up.
permission, if I could ask that those be published to the jury at this point.
Okay.
And Sergeant Bukhenik, you recognize what's up on the screen?
Yes, I do.
And if you could, using the laser pointer, draw the jury's attention to what, if anything, of significance you observed this still shot from the CF department.
We observe the victim, Mr. John O'Keefe, here. Appears to be communicating with the defendant here.
Where's the
Mr.
hat?
Camerano is over here as well. Mr. Sullivan is down here as well. Mr. O'Keefe is wearing the gray light two-tone sweatshirt that I held up earlier, as well as the jeans.
Sully.
And the next still shot is going to.
Sully's there. Wait, don't go yet.
And similar to this, similar to the previous one, excuse me, sorry.
Wait, I want to go back. I want to go back because Karen's got a straw in her drink, and the straw is not black, is it? Remember they found a black straw on the lawn? Okay, just pointing that out. Looks like there's a straw. Looks like it's not black. Looks either clear or white. You may proceed, Mr. Lally.
And similar to this, similar to the previous one, excuse me, sorry, did you recognize what's depicted in this still shot here?
Yes, it's, again, the victim on the other side of the defendant, still dressed in the same outfit, and the defendant standing in front of him.
And as far as the bar area adjacent to the defendant, what, if anything, of significance do you know there?
The bar area is located near the taps, the draft beer taps at C.F. McCarthy's. So if you were to look at the bar from the street, that is the left side of the bar orientation on the way to the restrooms.
And I'm sorry, I should have been more specific. As far as the sort of shelf of the bar immediately adjacent to the defendant's left arm, what, if anything, do you observe that?
Here, I observe a cylindrical vase-style cocktail glass on the bar, as well as other beer bottles.
Ms. Gilman, you can.
Okay. Okay. So we're going to assume that they're hers and not the person who may have been there, I don't know, a half an hour ago, because this looks like a hard place for the bartender to clear off glasses. And have you ever been to a bar where there's like tons of dirty glasses that nobody has the opportunity to clean and they sit there for hours? This looks like a beer bottle with the, I mean, it looks to me to be the label ripped off. There's two similar style glasses here with limes in them and a clear liquid and some ice, maybe some ice. I don't know. We can't even tell, but some other empty bottles here. How are we to assume who they belong to unless we see them drinking out of them when there's an empty chair right here? Okay. Get on with your bad self. Let's see.
Take that down. If McCarthy's video, Your Honor, with the court's permission, I would ask to publish certain portions of that. It's already been marked as Exhibit 50.
Okay.
Ms. Gilman, if you could, from the first video. If I could ask you to pull it up to about 7 minutes and 50 seconds. And Ms. Gilman, if you could pause just for a moment, I'm just going to ask you to play from 7:50 to about 8 minutes and 20 seconds in, but I may ask you to pause it. Ms. Gilman, if you could pause there. Sergeant, as far as just, again, for orientation purposes, with reference to the entrance or exit, point of ingress, egress for this bar, do you observe that somewhere within this video?
Yes, at the top of the screen is the front door to C.F. McCarthy's bar. And as we just viewed, the two gentlemen walking in, they walked in through the front door, heading to the taps area, draft beer location of the bar.
And if you could, just using the laser pointer, direct the jury's attention to that front door area that you're talking about.
The front door area is located right here.
And with respect to those two individuals that came in, do you recognize those two individuals?
Yes, that is the victim, Mr. John O'Keefe, dressed in the same outfit as before, and Mr. Camerano.
If you could play that to about 8:20.
Shannon, he's asking Yuri about this because he's the one who retrieved the video from McCarthy's. He's the one who came into possession of it. Although, you're right, he's not the proper one to authenticate it, maybe. I don't know. This is getting to be such a circus.
Ms. Gilman, if I could ask you from the same exhibits.
So what, this is like 8:20 p.m.?
50 from the third video now. If I could ask you to go to about 6 minutes and 10 seconds in. And I'm going to ask you to play that till about 6 minutes and 43 seconds.
John is drinking beer out of a bottle.
Pause just there. As far as the individuals around Mr. O'Keefe and Mr. Camerano, do you observe or recognize anybody else in the bar area around them at this time?
Mr. O'Keefe is sitting next to Mr. Camerano. I believe Mr. Kurt Roberts is there as well, next to Mr. Camerano.
Now, from this time, we're at about 8:51 p.m. or so within the video. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Now, as far as the timestamp on this video, what, if any, information were you provided when you retrieved this video on February 1st in relation to that time and its accuracy to sort of what time was?
During video surveillance extraction, we verify the time and date on the system, and that is to show us how far behind in the past or in the future. Sometimes devices are timestamped that's in the future. It hasn't happened yet in real time, but the video is stamped so. So what we do is, prior to extracting video, we identify the difference in time between real time and video time. In this case, CF McCarthy's video was 12 minutes behind real time.
What?
And thank you. And Ms. Gilman, if you
The
could,
future?
play
I've
this for
seen the
about 6
future?
minutes and 40 seconds.
They don't look fighting to me.
Just pause there briefly, Ms. Gilman. As far as anyone else within the area of the bar, the area of Mr. O'Keefe, Mr. Camerano, Mr. Roberts, who, if anyone else, do you recognize in that area at this time?
I recognize the defendant walking in and interacting with the victim, Mr. John O'Keefe.
Do they look to be in a fight?
Ms. Gilman, if you could, within that same video 3, I would ask you to go to about 13 minutes and 15 seconds. And I'm going to ask you to play from here to about 14 minutes and 45 seconds.
Karen just picked some stuff off the bar. It looked like maybe her keys and her phone, or some empty beer bottles here. What looks like empty beer bottles in front of her. I think, yeah, John went to the men's room or something. He comes back.
Pause there.
She's being handed a tall
From your
glass.
review of this video, what, if anything, of significance do you observe in this part of the video?
This part of the video, I observed the defendant reaching over and retrieving a cylindrical, tall cocktail glass from the bartender.
And again, given the understanding that the video is about 12 minutes off as far as the timestamp, the defendant entered about 8:51 p.m. and is receiving this drink about 8:58 p.m. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And if you could, Ms. Gilman, play that too. Now, Ms. Gilman, if you could go up to about 32 minutes even in to the same video. Now I'm going to ask you to play that for the next 30 seconds or so to about 32 minutes and 30 seconds. And Sergeant, during that about 30 seconds or so, what, if anything, of significance did you observe the defendant to receive at that point?
A cylindrical cocktail glass.
And so that would be the second drink, is that correct?
That's correct.
And that's at approximately 9:15, is that correct?
That's correct.
And Ms. Gilman, if you could go forward to about 37 minutes into this same video.
I don't know, Ryan. Why would security video be 12 minutes behind
Play that
real
for about the
time?
next minute or so,
I don't know.
about 38.
That's right. Love Heals. Canton PD should ask McCarthy's where they got those nice functioning cameras. In color, they're clear. Right, Martha, how do you know, officer, exactly what the defendant is drinking?
Now, Sergeant, again, from that about 1 minute portion from that video, what, if anything, of significance did you observe the defendant receive and do with any items?
She received the shot glass beverage and poured it into the tall cylindrical cocktail glass, and then Mr. John O'Keefe stirred it for her.
And so that would now be the third drink, is that correct?
That is correct.
And that's about 9:20 p.m., is that correct?
That's correct.
Maybe the first three were
Gentlemen, If I
seltzer,
could direct you to.
and that would be the
fourth
first
video,
shot of
video number
vodka.
4,
Okay. Okay.
and ask you to go about 50 seconds into 50 into this video.
Thanks, just watching. That's what I was
I'm gonna
thinking.
ask you to play this, Ms. Gilman, from 50 seconds to about 1:30.
Just watching says, I'm a bartender. I've had people order just a club soda, then about halfway order a shot. That's not really weird. You're trying to show how many drinks she had. Correct. She may be mixing her own drink. Could be just tonic, and she ordered a shot of vodka.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman. So, Sergeant, from this particular video, what, if anything, of significance do you observe the defendant receiving during this time frame?
She receives another shot glass beverage and then places that liquid into her tall cocktail glass and stacks the second shot glass into the first shot glass into the first tall cylindrical cocktail glass she had previously received and consumed.
He says he got the
This
receipt,
would now
so
be the fourth drink, is that correct?
That is correct.
And per the video, that's about 9:33 p.m., is that correct?
That is correct.
And Ms. Gilman, within this same video, if I could ask you to go to about 26 minutes and 30 seconds. Ms. Gilman, if you could pause there for just a moment. I'm going to ask you to play this until about 27:40.
Well, she looks happy. She looks like she's laughing. I don't know.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman. During that period, Sergeant, what, if anything, of significance did you observe the defendant to receive during that time frame?
She received a tall cylindrical cocktail glass.
And in addition to that, what, if anything else, did she receive from the bartender during that time?
A shot glass size beverage.
And what, if anything, did she do with the shot glass in regard to the larger cylindrical glass?
It was placed inside the tall cylindrical cocktail glass.
So that would be drinks 5 and 6, is that correct?
That's correct.
And per the timestamp on the bar video, this is now about 9:57 p.m., is that correct?
Correct.
And Ms. Gilman, if I could direct you to video number 5. And if I could ask you to go to about 3 minutes in. And ask you to play that till about 3:30 or so.
We're a little behind, so I'm going to speed this up if you don't mind. I'm sure you won't. Who's this guy here with the beard and the black jacket? I don't think we've met him.
And if I could ask you to go to about 10 minutes and 30 seconds in. And I would ask you to play that for about a minute to about 11:30 or so.
Chuck, I think we are going to see the bar tab because he said he had a receipt. That's not the guy Sully. I think that's Sully. I think Kurt already had to leave because his wife made him go home. But I don't know who this guy is with the black jacket on and the beard. Does anybody know? Kim is like, Melanie, we don't need more witnesses. No, that's not Carrie's husband.
Thank you, Ms. Gilman. So Sergeant, sort of rounder shots during this portion of the video, is that correct?
That's
Yeah, sustained. You can ask it differently.
What, if anything, of significance did you observe the defendant and or the group that she was with do in this portion of the video?
in this portion of the video. The two gentlemen to the right of the defendant consume a shot-sized beverage.
And as far as the shot glass that the defendant received, what, if anything, do you observe her to do with that?
Objection.
I'll allow it. Or strike that. Just what did you observe, not what she had.
What did you observe the defendant to do during that portion?
Prior to the shots being taken, a shot glass was poured into the cylindrical tall glass.
And again, so that would be drink number 7 at that point?
That would be drink number 6.
Oh, he corrected Lally on the downside.
And I'm sorry. So the previous portion was a cylindrical drink and then a shot glass that was 5 and 6. Is that correct?
Objection.
I think that was the testimony, but ask it differently.
As far as that drink during that portion, is that drink number 6 or drink number 7?
Objection.
Yeah, in that form, I'll sustain it.
At this point in time in the video, after watching what you've watched, how many drinks has the defendant consumed at this point?
At this point, she's consumed or is in possession of
Objection.
I'll allow it.
6 drinks.
And this is at approximately 10:29 p.m., is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Ms. Gilman, if you could go to about 20 minutes and 30 seconds in.
Are we going to see her stumble out the bar? If she had 6 drinks in what, an hour?
So during that portion of the video, what, if anything, do you observe as to the drink the defendant has and how full it is at that point?
She has a cylindrical tall cocktail glass in her hand.
And can you observe, or did you observe how full that glass was?
Drink number 6 is empty, or near the bottom, almost empty.
Where did you get your
Ms.
degree
Gilman,
in
if I could,
barware,
ask you to
sir?
go to about 22 minutes and 40, I'm sorry, 22:40 or so within for the time stamp, I'm sorry.
Okay, looks like they're saying their goodbyes. They're not doing the Irish exit. They're saying goodbye. Shaking hands with Sully. John is. Did they pay the tab already? Did I miss that part?
Now, from this portion of the video, Sergeant, what, if anything, do you observe the defendant and Mr. O'Keefe doing in reference to C.F. McCarthy?
Once the defendant got drink number 7, the defendant and Mr. O'Keefe walk out of C.F. McCarthy's, the defendant holding the beverage, tall cylindrical glass in her hand.
Thank you, sir. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Ms.
Hold
Gilman, you
on.
can take that down.
Did we see her leave the bar with the glass? Because I just want to rewind that a sec. All right, they're saying their goodbyes. How can he see if she's got the glass in her hand? Can you see?
Now, from this portion of the video, Sergeant, what, if anything, do you observe the defendant and Mr. O'Keefe doing in reference to C.F. McCarthy?
Once the defendant got drink number 7, the defendant and Mr. O'Keefe walk out of C.F. McCarthy's, the defendant holding the beverage, tall cylindrical glass in her hand.
Thank you, sir. Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
Ms. Gilman, you can take that down. I'm sorry.
Yeah, walked out. She didn't stumble out.
So I'm showing you a 5-page document. Ask you to review that, look up when you're finished.
This would be the receipt.
And do you recognize that document, sir?
Yes, I do.
So what do you recognize it to be?
I recognize it to be a series of transaction receipts from the tabs at C.F. McCarthy's.
And are these the transaction receipts or tabs that you received, you and Trooper Keefe received from C.F. McCarthy's on February 1st, 2022?
Yes, they are.
And with reference to those receipts or tabs, to whom, if anyone of significance, do those tabs pertain to?
The first one for 5280 was opened under the bar tab, Karen A. Reed.
And is there also a receipt from John O'Keefe?
Yes, it is. The transaction through the credit card, being a MasterCard for 5280, was paid by Mr. John J. O'Keefe.
And with reference to the items listed within that particular receipt.
Wait,
what
so
if any- items of significance do you
They opened a bar tab under Karen's name and then John paid the tab. I'm confused.
observe listed on the receipts?
Under Karen A. Reed's receipt,
Oh, 2 receipts.
one Tito's, $10. One Tito's, $10. One Coors Light, $5.
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
May I approach, Your Honor?
Yes.
$5
I'll speak to
Coors
introduce
Lights
the
at
medicine
CF
exhibit.
McCarthy's, everybody. It's a pretty good price. Just saying. Karen Reed's generous. Yeah.
And so Sergeant Mechanic, on those receipts from CF McCarthy's under both Ms. Reed's receipt and Mr. O'Keefe's receipt, there was Tito's vodka listed on the receipt, correct?
Correct.
Now, also on February 1st, what, if any, other establishments did you go to in the town of Canton?
Myself and Trooper
So the only thing that came into evidence out of all the video that we suffered through is 2 Tito's and a Coors Light. 2 Tito's and a Coors Light. Okay. Tito's has entered the chat. Coors Light has entered the chat because I thought John O'Keefe drank Bud Light. But I'm not sure.
Keefe went up across the street to the Waterfall Bar and Grill and retrieved transaction receipts and video from there as well.
And as far as the video is concerned from that establishment, have you reviewed that video as well?
Yes, I did.
And with regard to the receipts from that establishment, you reviewed those as well. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Your Honor, may I approach?
Yes.
We have receipts for 2 Tito's. That's it. Don't go chasing waterfall.
Look up when you're finished. And you recognize those, sir?
Yes, I do.
And what do you recognize those to be?
Those are still shots of surveillance video from the Waterfall Bar and Grill on the night of January 29th after midnight. And Mr. O'Keefe is depicted in the still shot.
And those are both interior as well as exterior camera shots of Mr. O'Keefe's sort of exit from the waterfall. Is that correct?
That's correct. Interior, him leaving at 12:11 a.m., which the timestamp on the surveillance video at the Waterfall was accurate to real time. He is
Didn't he just tell us that all bar video is not accurate to real time? But Waterfall has accurate timing on their bar video. He said it was in the future or some crap like that. I forget.
holding a beverage, shorter cocktail glass in his right hand as he exits the establishment. He's seen on the exterior camera walking towards Washington Street.
Let's
May I
see
approach,
it.
Your Honor?
Yes.
I'm about to seek to introduce in Meadows next.
No objection.
Cool. Are they going to say somebody else bought them 5 rounds of drinks?
Thank you.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could ask that this be published for the jury. And Ms. Gilman, if I could just have the first one. My apologies. Ms. Gilman, if I could have the first one from the interior. Thank you. And Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen, which is now the mark as exhibit 464?
I do.
And what do you recognize that to be?
That is the still shots presented to me and entered into the exhibit of Mr. O'Keefe walking out of the Waterfall Bar and Grill at 12:11 a.m. on the night of the early morning hours of January 29th, holding a cocktail glass.
And if I could have the second still from the second one.
I don't know. Can you? Couldn't see that he's holding a cocktail
And
glass.
again, do you recognize what's up on the screen, sir?
Yes, sir.
Holding
If you
something.
could, using the laser pointer before you, just direct the jury's attention to where you observed Mr. O'Keefe and what, if anything, you observed Mr. O'Keefe holding as he's exiting the waterfall.
Mr. O'Keefe is observed here. He's holding that shorter, fatter cocktail glass as he's walking out of the establishment.
It's really
Ms.
poor
Gilman,
quality
if I could ask
video.
the exterior, just the second one, please. And again, Sergeant, do you recognize what's up on the screen, which is now marked as exhibit 467?
Yes, I do.
Stop. Hold on. I'm going to move these closed captions out of the way. Oh, I can't. make this bigger for you, but I can make it bigger on my own screen. See what he has to say about this.
And if you could, give me the way to point direct the jury's attention to what, if anything, is significant to observe in this step.
This is Mr. O'Keefe walking out of the Waterfall establishment, holding the cocktail glass in his right hand as he walks towards Washington Street.
Thanks. Ms. Gilman, you can take that. Mr. Officer, we can have the lights. Thank you, sir.
Jimmy,
Madam
you're not
Mayor,
the only one, Jimmy.
Yes.
I don't know. The cocktail glass to me looked like a can. Remember somebody else walked out with a can of
Showing you
White
what's
Claw.
previously marked as Exhibit 4, just ask to look at that. And then look up if you could. And do you recognize what's contained in Exhibit 54?
I do recognize, yes.
And are those the receipts that you received from the Waterfall when you went there on February 1st?
Yes, they are.
Thank you. May I approach your hand, Your Honor?
Yes.
Now, sir, with reference to the Waterfall, in regard to the timestamp on that surveillance video, what, if anything, were you told as far as the accuracy of that timestamp when you retrieved that video?
That video was confirmed to be accurate in time, as in real time. No discrepancy.
And Your Honor, with the court's permission, if I could just publish 3 quick clips from what's been marked as Exhibit 53.
Okay.
She's like, you better make it quick. It's almost 4:30. I got to get out of here.
Ms. Gilman, if I could ask from Channel 3, the second video down, screen to 10:50.
Oh, is this the grab ass one?
The timestamp on the top of the screen to 10:54 in 25 seconds. I could ask you to pause right there. So, Sergeant, from that particular portion of the video, what, if anything, of significance did you observe further?
There's a band.
That portion of video depicts Mr. John O'Keefe walking in with the defendant gesturing to a group of people at the top of the screen, and then Mr. O'Keefe walking over and giving a hug to an individual that's part of the group.
So from the same Channel 3, Ms. Gilman, if I could have from the 4th video down. If I could ask you to go 11:39 in 40 seconds.
Somebody said, what's a Tito? It's vodka. It's a vodka brand here in the U.S.
And in about 5 to 10 seconds or so, I'm going to ask Ms. Gilman if you could pause it, and I'm just going to ask Sergeant if you can direct your attention to sort of the top right corner of the screen. Pause there. From that portion of the video, you observed the defendant in that portion of the video?
Yes, I did.
And what, if anything, did you observe her to be doing?
She retrieves a drink from the table and appears to consume it.
Now, as far as the drink and the tall cylindrical glass that you observed her walking out of C.F. McCarthy's with, what, if anything, do you observe from the glass that she's taking a sip of from this portion of the video, the Waterfall?
It's a shorter, fatter style glass compared to the cylindrical tall style that she walked out of C.F. McCarthy's with.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Gilman, you can take that. And Mr. Officer, if we could have the lights. Thank you, sir.
Mr. Lally, why don't we end for the day? It's been a long day. Everybody ready to go home? Yeah, okay.
All right, so
She is.
Sergeant, we're going to meet you back tomorrow, and I'll ask you to just follow the jurors out when they leave. So jurors, those same reminders, please do not discuss this case with anyone. Don't do any independent research or investigation into the case. If you happen to see, hear, or read anything about the case, please disregard it and let us know. We'll see you tomorrow.
All rise for the court, please. Jury, follow me.
Defense looks happy about the way today went. See if the judge will be making any important announcements before coming to a close. Everybody wants to get out of there so badly. Like, let us out. Let us out. Mamacita, thanks for the super chat. MSP routinely uses the term mission for any task. Leanne, thank you. What did you get off of Karen's phone? Guess that was for Yuri. Emily, thank you for your super chat. Gaslighting or gas tail lighting in this case. Very good, Emily. I see what you did there. See what you did there. Leanne says back in the day, back a couple of, who knows how long ago, can we see the back of the car, please? Saw a lot of video. But not a lot of the tail light. Leanne again says, I will pay money to see the back of the car. Higgins has the motive. Job done. Back to the start of the video, you can see the guy vanish, says Vincent. I think we did do that. You guys have time later. Go back and watch those videos again in the Sally Port. There was a lot of jump cuts, and a lot of disappearing people. Back of the car, please, Lally, says Leanne. Miss Parks is in the house. Thanks for the super chat. There are 2 jumps in the video. Garage doors going down right before the crime scene tape goes up. Wait for cross on that one, Mrs. Parks. Wait for cross. There's a lot of video missing. Dave the Pious, thanks for the chat. Took it to a heated Sally Port, but left the door open. It's a lady says, thanks for the 5. That dummy was for sure wearing John's shirt they showed in evidence. Could that be cross-contaminate? I don't think so. You think? I don't think it was his shirt. Thanks for the super chat. Liz, thank you for the super chat. Jay Giles Band house party at Albert's. Still adding to the playlist. Ben George, thank you for the 10. What was in the spot before her car came in? There's no snow where it's parked, but snow all around her car. If it's heated, why would they have left the doors open and let that much snow accumulate? Yeah, and then you see them brushing the snow away after her car is parked. Why didn't they get the brooms out before the car came in? Make it make sense to me. Thank you, Ben. Dave the Pious, thank you for being a member for 6 months. He says the video is backwards. They got it from TikTok. Ben, thanks again. For another 10, there's a picture taken from the back of her car in the Sally Port. The police cruiser is on the driver's side and the ATV is on the passenger side. That first video is inverted 100%. Can't link the picture here. Okay, we'll look for that, Ben. Thanks. Thank you, Sons107, for being a member for 4 months. No lead investigator. Haha, since when? Yeah, no, they're not calling him the lead investigator anymore. Now they're calling him what? The case officer. The case officer. But Yuri is the supervisor, so he supervises everyone. Boy, are they trying to distance themselves from Proctor or what? An eclectic mind, thank you for the super chat. Please, someone turn off the gas. I'm smelling something bad. Paw printed hard, thank you. If you remember, Lally never closed his case of discovery, and DeBev said the trial would still start on time. Yeah, he wasn't exchanging stuff right until jury selection started. A rare zebra, thank you. Why Canton police is reverse on car? Possibly the same reason the ambulance is inverted so a driver in front can read the word properly in their rearview mirror. Yeah, maybe. That could be, you could be right. It did look mirrored. Blessed Mom from Texas, thank you so much for the 5. Melanie, that type of light doesn't shatter. I own a new Lexus. The Commonwealth is nuts. Can't wait to hear from the experts on that one. Blessed Mom in Texas, thank you. 9 Sectuna SG, thank you for the super chat. Lally's just eating time so they can't cross today. Oh, he did it. Oh, it's done. Day's over. I'm waiting to see if she has anything more to say. It looks like they're at sidebar. Thanks, Mama Montana, for being a member for 7 months. Joined the first time I saw your channel. CRPS survivor. Thank you. all my CRPS warriors in the chat who joined me during the Maya Kowalski channel. And thank you, Mama Montana. 7 months. I think that's right around the time I exactly started membership. So you're an old OG. You're an OG. Thank you. Nancy Rock, thank you. I do this all the time. Plain club soda, then add my own vodka so I don't get such a large pour. Yep. A lot of people do that. Rassler's mom, thank you. How do we know she drank each drink completely? Guess I don't know, unless they watch the whole entire video. Paul Printed Hard, thank you. If you zoom in, the taillight looks exactly the same. I think we did zoom in. Everyone, that's your homework for tonight.
All right. What's there to adjourn?
And the judge is gone and the fan's back up. Tell me what you think the craziest part of the day was in the comments and in the chat. Della, thank you so much. I weep at this injustice for Karen and John. Seriously, courts aren't a circus arena for corrupt law enforcement officers and DAs to seek their outcomes. Prayers for Karen. Prayers for Karen. Spirit healing, thank you. Must be happy hour, she says. EB Rebels, thanks for the super sticker. Gina Cappadocia, thank you for the 5. Melanie, the Sallyport video is flipped. The person is exiting the driver's side. I don't know. I need more info on that. It looks mirrored, but maybe not flipped. I'm not really sure. It's so weird. Lisa, thank you for the 5G. I wonder what Microdots is doing right now. Making a video. If you don't follow Microdots on YouTube, go do it. Jessica Hood, thank you for the 5. They reversed the video. The 4 is backwards. The police wording on the car. Try it on your phone with a picture. EB Rebels, thank you. Somebody just mouthed no Proctor ever to her family. Go back and see it. I don't know. Who's Maiden? Who's Maden? I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to say. Wait for us, says Yannetti. Yes, Lisa C. That is what Yannetti says. Aussie Insider also has good reaction videos. But Microdots is more technical, more with the technical stuff. But yeah, go follow Aussie Insider too. Karen Mouth. No Proctor ever. I'll assume you skipped it for a reason. I didn't. I was just trying to catch us up with real time. No Proctor ever. All right. Well, that's interesting. I don't know. I'm not a lip reader, but take your word for it. EB Rebels. That's interesting. So Proctor does not want to come in. He's not coming in. Are they going to call him the defense? I don't know. Is there a reason why he can't come in? Yes, Mermaid Mary, you are correct. Microdots has been hired as a media consultant for the defense. You won't see more videos until the trial's over. Oh, okay. So go to Aussie Insider because she's got a lot of great videos too. So the only thing we've got receipts on are 2 vodkas and 1 Coors Light. And that's about it. The entire afternoon was spent with more direct examination of Yuriy Bukhenik, who will be back on the stand tomorrow. There's only court from 9 to 12. It's a short day, half day. Hopefully they'll get to cross tomorrow because it doesn't seem like he's even really done with direct yet. Because after that, we're going to have to wait until Monday, maybe, for another day of trial. I don't even know. I don't even know what the dates are anymore for this trial because they seem to change on a whim. Heather, thank you so much for your Cash App, for my classy coverage. And thank you to Marky Mark. Says, I'm the best law tuber ever. Oh, Brains and looks only second to my wife. He says, you're very sweet for buying me a coffee, matcha latte. Let us see if we have any more questions here. Perhaps we will see Mark Betterow next week join me for some live trial coverage. He just said in his email to me. And thank you to Nurse Jones for the Venmo. Says, I love that. Paul's wearing a pink shirt, she said. Maybe Labor Day by the time we make it. to the end of this trial. But what say you, my friends? What say you? This was exhausting. Thank God we started the day with some breathing exercises with Laura. Follow Laura's channel. It's in the description to the morning stream. She's not allowed to smile, says Leanne Wilson. Are you talking about Karen? Feels like that. Thank you, Della, for the 10. Just because I appreciate you and all that you do. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys for watching. Without you, I'd be screaming at my TV. And I wouldn't have a channel, so thank you. Magnolia Gypsy says 7 drinks and only 2 were alcohol. 2 were Tito's. That's all we got so far. Nancy, thank you. Maybe we all have to accept that she had 7 drinks, but it's still no proof she murdered John O'Keefe. They were all driving, drinking, drunk. Yeah. And everyone said she didn't appear intoxicated too, which is something else that I can't wrap my head around. So I just don't know. John Hoffa, thanks for the 20. Off topic, if Lally is on record doubting the veracity of the Celebrite data, does that leave his prior convictions using that data open to appeal? Methinks so. I don't think he can open that Pandora's box. Celebrite is the gold standard of cell phone extraction software. Thanking me for my great insight and empathy. Thank you. Thank you, Jen, so much for your 20. I don't think he can open up that Pandora's box. It's not going to be good. And Leanne says she's not allowed to smile. All right, my friends, I am losing my voice. It's been a very full day. Thank you to my moderators for keeping the chat classy and for doing so much amazing work for me today. I appreciate you so much. Nathan says, day 5, during Gallagher testimony, you can see the old cop cruiser on the driver's side of the car. That's interesting. Thank you, Lisa, very much for the Cash App donation. You're amazing. How many more prosecution witnesses? I don't know, at least 30, depending on if they call everybody on their list. So yeah, that's this is crazy. Thanks, Mods. I love you. You know I do. Wolfram says, thanks, Wolfram. I checked your stream from yesterday. Madeline's photos of the vehicles show the 4 correct. The other vehicle is on the driver's side of the Lexus. That's interesting. And that was Nathan's chat. All right, my friends, I will see you back here tomorrow morning, bright and early for a 9 o'clock start. Only 9 to 12. Troll be gone. Trolls be gone. We have a troll emoji for this stream as well. So thanks, my amazing, amazing moderators. You guys rock. It's been a long day and we're all exhausted. I'm sure you're all going to keep watching coverage all night long. So go for it. Go for it. To my channel members, thank you so much for joining my channel. Viewers, replay viewers, I appreciate you so much. Could you please, everyone, while we're here and thinking about it, just hit the like button. It really helps the channel. And if you hit the subscribe button, it's totally free. And then you hit the bell and then you know when I go live. Tomorrow we'll be coming on probably around 8:40-ish for a 9 o'clock start, only until noon. So it's a half day tomorrow. Get a good night's sleep. And remember, as I always say, my friends, be cool, be kind, be classy. It's not hard. It is so not hard. Put your song comments underneath the video for your playlist with regard to this trial. We have a huge playlist already. Let me know what you think. And peace out, everyone. I will see you in the morning for more Yuriy. Take care.